Are we starting now?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to fucking tweet it.
Oh.
Okay. Here we go.
The Joe Rogan Experience
Bitches.
is sponsored by Fleshlight, the #1 sex toy for men. If you go to Joe Rogan's website, you can click on the link on the right side and put the code Rogan in to save yourself. How much, Joe?
15% off, Brian.
It's the #1 sex toy for a reason, because when you fuck it, it feels way better than any product you can buy.
It's true.
I have tested every single thing out.
So people send you other
Japanese
stuff to try to beat it?
toys, things made in Africa out of cantaloupes. I mean, I've
They have
tested
cantaloupes
everything.
in Africa?
Well, it's produce-based sex toys, mostly in the South Africa regions. But this Fleshlight's always in the #1.
It's the best. It's a genius invention. I mean, it doesn't get the credit that it deserves because everybody's so embarrassed about the idea of fucking
That's the
something.
problem.
Yeah,
It's dirty.
But it's an amazing product. I mean, as far as like really effective products, I mean, it really does what is advertised. It feels like a great vagina, not just a good vagina, a great vagina. And if you like soak it in warm water before you fuck it,
Oh, yeah.
it
What does that
actually
do?
feels like a human body.
It expands?
No, it warms like a
Oh.
human body does. It feels like a human body.
I did one of those sleeps the other day where you wake up and you're just completely like, oh, I don't have to do anything. So I'm just going to lay here and just kind of stretch out a little. And then I saw the Fleshlight on my nightstand. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go deep with this shit. So it was clean. It had never been used before. It was one of these new ones. And I got this lotion.
It's weird. Every time I
great.
think I'll just do it in the morning, then I'll go back to bed. For some reason, that morning nut fills me with energy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, time to start the day.
That pee boner
Yeah.
where you actually bypass
go.
the pee and still come before you even go pee. That's amazing. That's a talent right there.
Those nighttime boners are so important in hotel rooms to go to bed. Beat off right before you go to bed. Like in the hotel room, sometimes when you're on the road, you have a hard time sleeping.
Yeah.
That's when those nighttime masturbation sessions.
Here's my worst times when I'm on the road. That's when a Fleshlight would come in handy. And I know I'm going to only sleep for 2 hours and have to go to radio. And I like to beat off into a sock, but I don't. I want to reuse that sock just for morning radio. I don't want to use a fresh sock for it.
Right. I feel like I'm
That's
stepping
when
on
the worst
fortune
times
cookie.
are.
You can't bring the Fleshlight with you though. That's like the line.
Why not?
There's something about
Afraid of someone
traveling
taking
with
it
it.
out?
It's like, wow, man, you're just, you're admitting that you can't even go away for a couple of days without beating off. It's like such a blatant admission.
Just committing to it.
Yeah, so much so that you're not worried about being stopped at the airport and searched for sex toys.
They should have a travel
Oh.
Fleshlight.
Dude, you don't even know what happened. You know Veronica Ricci? She went to Israel last week. She
What?
just went there
What?
by herself.
What?
And they thought she was a spy, and so they went through her luggage for like 4 days, and she didn't have luggage for 4 days, and they were like asking her because I guess they thought she was like a terrorist of some sort, because there's no other like girls her age, that are not Jewish is visiting Israel right now, I guess. And so she had to buy all new clothes, and then she said it was like pretty fucking dirty and scary. There's people with machine guns everywhere.
There are people with machine guns
and
everywhere.
A lot of
but that's
people
in the
played
airports.
oboes, and she's like, dude, when you see machine guns and oboes getting played everywhere,
So just because she came there by herself,
Yeah.
they thought that she was a terrorist.
Yeah.
No. They're just really good at
And-
searching everybody.
and well, she
Wow.
also bought her ticket last minute, like she just wanted to go to Israel.
Let's get through these commercials so we can talk about this. We have to say these commercials first, damn it.
So if you bring your Fleshlight to Israel, be careful. But
Go-
other than that, go nuts.
We're also sponsored by Onnit.com. That's ONNIT, makers of Alpha Brain, Shroom Tech Sport, Shroom Tech Immune, and New Mood. What are these? Most of them are what's called nootropics. And what nootropics are is they're supplements that are designed to enhance the way your brain functions. It's a very controversial issue. So Google it. Check it out. I've been using nootropics long before I ever started hawking them. I was using Bill Romanowski's stuff called Neuro One. That's when I first got introduced to the world of nootropics. And I've had very good results with them. I like them. But I believe in all kinds of vitamins. I believe in eating healthy too, you stinky bitches. Go to Onnit.com, check it out. The supplements, all of them, when you order 30 pills, there is a 100% money-back guarantee. You don't have to return the product. You just have to say, this sucks. Nobody is trying to rip you off. Everything that we sell is the highest quality possible, the highest quality available, and the best mixtures that we know. And the most important thing for us is that no one feels like they got ripped off. So we make sure that there's a 100% money back guarantee on all first orders.
Did anybody ever do that?
Yeah.
Take you up on it?
Yeah, people take it up. Yeah, they get their money back.
That's
you know, it's some people, first of all, I don't know how everybody's body works. Everybody's body works different. I could never claim that something that's effective for me is effective for you. There's some things that other people are allergic to that I'm not. There's a lot of weirdness when it comes to bodies.
Yeah.
I don't know how your brain works. Maybe your brain works better than mine all the time anyway. You know, maybe some people need nootropics and some people are like those kids that can look out a window of an airplane and then draw everything they saw in exact proportion. You ever seen that kid?
Oh, yeah.
How does that kid do that?
I
don't know. Maybe his brain is just working like in that function, in that regard, like at so much higher RPMs than mine can ever achieve ever. I don't know. But I know for me, nootropics are effective. They are for a lot of my friends that take them. Mayhem believes in them. He told me the first time I ever gave them to him, he goes, I knew it was legit when I was fucking people up in video games.
Really?
He goes, my video game synapses
Why?
were just on fire.
Really?
Yeah, because your mind has to.
Affects your
Video
brain?
games are fucking. There's a lot of shit going on in your brain. Like people think that video games are vegging out. Bullshit,
That's
man.
military training.
Yeah, it's when you're
They can't
playing a
kid-
really intense game of Counter-Strike or something like that. You know, I never got into that game, but because I was really into like more one-on-one games. But there was a lot of dudes who would play Counter-Strike, and these motherfuckers were like literally virtually going to war. They'd have a LAN together, and they'd all be screaming out instructions at each other. They all had
Yeah.
headphones on, and they'd
Yeah.
be playing some dudes on the other side of the room. I mean,
It's a lot of stimulus.
they were at war.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shit going on.
They had that kid who got a concussion in football and then killed himself like a day later. 'Cause They said he shouldn't have done anything that would stimulate his brain too much, but he's playing video games all day. And they're like, absolutely do not do that.
Oh my
Do
god!
not do video games and concerts. Like you need to rest your brain for a little while.
Yeah, video games are really intensely, intensely exciting for the brain in a lot of weird areas. You know, I mean, they get you like you're really at war. This digital war is going on. You know, especially the live one-on-one internet battles. When I first found out that you could actually play a game with someone live one-on-one on the internet, I thought that was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever heard of. I didn't know anything about pings, so the first time I did it, I'd like log on to servers in like Sweden. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play some guy from fucking
You
Sweden.
play someone from Sweden.
Yeah,
That is pretty cool.
But you have like this huge lag time. Like people are disappearing in front of you. You're shooting rockets. Like you're not getting all the packets from the game because they're so far away.
Yeah.
So you would have like a big ping time to them.
We had Ethernet in college, and so everyone's connected. So we played Carmageddon.
Ooh.
And in between levels, like whoever won that race, whatever, we'd all just pour out into the halls and start like mocking each other for like while they were loading up the next level. It was super fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing like what video games can do, like as far as like that sort of a sense of a team game, almost like a team chess match. There's nothing like video games. I mean, chess is a brilliant game. It's an amazing game for
You
strategy.
can stay up.
In your
That's how
mind.
stimulating it is. You can
Yeah.
stay up for like 25 straight hours
Oh,
playing
yeah.
video games.
Yeah, you don't get tired. You want to keep going.
You're tired at 2 a.m. and you
Yeah.
go to sleep at 8 a.m.
You wait. You get away from the game and your hands are shaking. Like your whole body's pulsating with adrenaline. Yeah, dude. We used to have these Quake LAN matches where we would all get together and we would like have death matches where like we would either have team matches where it would be our team and we'd go against other teams. That was always real fun.
Yeah.
Or we would just fuck each other up. We would just have melees where anybody was against everybody. We'd just run into a room and everybody fucking kill everybody till there was one last man standing.
We should talk about this on the podcast.
We should.
This not part of it?
No, god damn it. It is and it isn't.
Have you ever had Cliffy B
Most
on the
people will
podcast?
get this part.
Right.
Yeah, we have to make our commercials really commercials.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're
Why?
going to have to shorten these
No.
bitches.
Because this
Join
shit
in
does,
with them. What-
yeah,
Yeah.
because this stuff doesn't get put on, I don't think, Sirius Radio. I don't
Oh,
think,
it
you know
doesn't?
what I mean? No.
Okay,
I think-
onit.com. You know what to do,
Oh, really?
bitch.
Yeah.
Enter in the code name Rogan, save 10%. All right, cue the music.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
What did you do that time? Did you slow it by half? You crafty devil. It's DJ Redband. Ari Shaffir's in the house.
faded
ladies and
to
gentlemen.
out.
We've been talking for like 10, 15 minutes about how fucking awesome video games can be.
And so the serious stuff starts right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sort of.
Yeah, that's a
They
lot
can
of...
do whenever they want it, really.
We should just record the commercials.
Maybe, but maybe not. People like it like this.
Yeah.
Some
Makes it
people
more-
don't.
Then it gives people reason to listen.
Yeah, it's a conversation more than anything,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more effective.
I've been listening to us
Yeah.
on Sirius Radio so much lately that
Yeah.
it changes my whole look of how I do this part of the podcast, I think. Because
Really?
it seems really legit when you're just driving around and you just flip a radio station. And you're like, what the fuck? That's
yeah.
me.
And you hear yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
about
it
the
is
radio,
weird.
it still is like, wow.
It's still, there's, yeah.
Well, it's also the idea of the radio is it's people that don't necessarily want to hear you, so you want to be like a little better for them. The people that already like you, like your podcast fans, you already got them. But if you're on Sirius and and they click on, and you're stumbling through your words and sounding like a retard.
Yeah, it's like, what? Who is this?
Yeah, what the fuck? The Fear Factor guy has a radio show.
He's
Really?
saying too much.
He's saying every other thing. I fucking hate that I say
Do you? Is that the one thing
God
you catch about yourself?
damn, I've been watching that lately. When I watched MC Chris was on your podcast, very nice guy, MC Chris, and this is not a criticism of him, but it made me realize it about myself. That he says a lot, and I'm like, God damn, bitch, you do too. That's what I said to myself. I'm like, you say all the time. You know?
When you see it in somebody else, you can see it in yourself.
It's like a trickery for
Yeah.
which you're pretending you're saying but you're saying it with two words. Well, that's not no it's not
I went to the
it's
store.
you fuck.
What
You're
do I
saying
say? What do I say a lot?
You say too. A lot of us
You know.
do. I think it's one of those things that one of us starts doing, then we all start doing.
Everyone just starts
Yeah.
doing it.
Ari, do
we
you
don't
know
know where it came
something I
from.
say a lot? I think maybe.
Yes, you are a
think I
big
say
like.
like.
Yes, you say like a lot. A lot of girls say like a lot.
Because that's my way of saying, here, I'll give you a different example.
Yeah, well, it's good
I'm
when it
trying to
works when
overanalyze.
that is what you say. But if it's just like, this like, so I'm like, and he's like, and there's like, I'm like, are you
Fuck.
serious? Like, is this like,
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't get it.
In the
Yeah.
future, somehow we're not going
Stop
to
you.
talk. We're going to have our phone talk for us. Or
You said something really interesting the other day that I've been really thinking of,
What?
and it was a very valid point. You were saying that that's what autism is. That's what people that are emotionless, and that's what if eventually, if
It's
we're
just
all
like
going to be
iPhones all the time?
connected digitally, there really won't be a need for emotions anymore. And it's like that might be the next stage. A lot of people have speculated that what some of the autism spectrum disorders is the human body possibly making a change, possibly
Getting ready for some new development.
I don't know. It could be about a lot of different things. I mean, they say there's environmental factors, like a lot of people say that it's toxins.
Yeah.
There's been arguments about vaccinations, all sorts of different things. But the idea is that they don't know what it is, or maybe it's that it's just being diagnosed more. There's arguments both ways. But something's happening, and there's a lot of kids that are experiencing this sort of a disassociated behavior. And it's super unfortunate, but it might be representing, according to people way smarter than me, so I don't even know exactly what they're meaning by this.
Yeah.
But they're saying that it might be representing a next stage in the
Mutation.
development of human beings. And that as a result of all of our like technological connection with each other, and being able to text and send pictures and do everything sort of virtually to each other,
Yeah.
that slowly the human body is having less and less of a need of the extreme sort of emotional interaction
Yeah, maybe.
that has sort of gotten us to where we are today.
I get addicted to the computer and the phone.
Yeah.
It's like it takes me 2 hours to go just start taking a shower because I'm like, let me just check this again and the Facebook and then
Yeah,
Twitter
dude.
and
It's something unhealthy. There's something going on with it. I mean, there's something fascinating about it. It is just like what we were talking about earlier about video games, that we were saying that video games are so stimulating,
Yeah.
like you never get
is
tired.
it just the light? Is that a lot of it?
Maybe it's
screen?
something. The visuals, like
Yeah.
really cool graphics.
It's the challenge, and people
That
do want to be
too.
challenged. It's like a game.
Yeah.
It's like anything.
Well, it's also replacing all those instincts that are in our DNA that sort of got us to where we are today. I've been watching
Just
this.
sit still.
What's that?
To sit still and just look at things.
Yeah.
And move your wrist.
Yeah, that's replacing going out and killing animals. That's replacing fighting off the enemy. That's replacing, swimming to safety because your boat breaks a hole in it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
this is the world that we're living in. It's not filled with all these needs for violent explosions and running away from danger and all the shit that the
right.
body's programmed for. So instead, it's slowly entering to some sort of a symbiotic relationship with machines. And as it enters into this relationship with the machines, it becomes less and less emotional. It's less and less interactive with humans, less and less dependent on that. And perhaps one day, ultimately not dependent at all. Because one day, ultimately, if you expand on how much of a connection we have with computers now and how this didn't even exist at all just 100 years ago. No electronics, no nothing 100 years ago. Yeah. Think of it. It's not outside the realm of possibility to envision some sort of a permanent interaction that humans are going to have with some sort of electronic environment.
Like claws that would come out to hold your phone when you're typing on it.
Something where, you're much more interactive virtually than you ever are physically. And that you will eventually become a part of a fucking system. Like you'll become an emotionless part. Integrated, yeah.
The Borg.
Yep, a Borg, for real. Nuts, right?
Yeah.
Super possible. Super possible.
That sounds like a way more evolved state.
Well, you got to think, we're hanging on to these goddamn emotions, these things that make us fly planes into buildings and these things that make us want to, jack other people. And I was reading CNN today, and that guy in, I believe it's Liberia.
Charles Taylor?
Yeah, he got convicted.
Yeah, they were saying it's just send a message to the other tyrants. I ain't going to send shit for a message.
Yeah, how is that?
By the time you're even close to getting overthrown, and you've already done enough shit to get tried for.
Yeah, I never even heard of this Charles Taylor guy.
Oh, he's one of the
so
worst.
Amazing.
He just didn't have a good name. That was his only problem.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
He snuck through being Charles Taylor and just fucked that country
Fucked up Liberia. Civil war for years.
What did he do? What was his exact crime?
I don't know. Probably killing people.
Was it a crime of passion?
I don't know. Probably killing people.
Maybe he jaywalked back and forth like 1 billion times in a row.
Was his name Charles Taylor?
Yeah. My friend Jesse, I have a few friends from there, from Liberia, from college. They were just like saying it just ruined everything. The infrastructure was just ruined by the Civil War.
Ugh. The whole story of Liberia is so crazy, and we've mentioned this before, but if you haven't heard the episode, please go and check out Vice Guide to Liberia. You want to see what's up with Liberia. Holy shit, was that fascinating.
He went?
Yeah, he went. Shane went.
They're trying to get tourism back.
Oh my God, dude. You got to see this guy's video. Vice Guide to Liberia is one of the best pieces of online journalism I've ever seen, ever. Wow. They went into Liberia. They explained everything. They showed like these like brothels where it's like $1 or something like that, or 25 cents. I mean, something ridiculous. I mean, it shows how scary it is there. They talked to that general butt naked guy, the guy who was telling them about how they would kill the enemy's babies and eat their flesh. He's telling him this. I mean, he's talking about how we would kill the flesh and eat the flesh of the innocent child, and that would make us invincible. And he would fight naked. He called him General Butt Naked because he would go to war naked. He would shoot people while he was naked. Yeah, he's responsible for the deaths of thousands and thousands of people, personally, absolutely responsible. And he became a Christian. And when he became a Christian, they forgave him.
What?
Yes, he's a preacher, and they forgave him for all of his murders because he found the Lord.
Wow, that's what Christianity teaches, right?
It's a crazy story. I mean,
Wash clean if you're sorry for it.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that he was able to kill and eat babies, and they don't even want him in jail. Yeah, he would kill and eat innocent children.
Because he had a change of heart soon enough.
Yeah, he found the Lord.
Wow.
That's...
well, if it's just for rehab, then he's already rehabbed.
Yeah, I guess he's out. He's good. He feels bad. He feels totally bad for eating all those babies.
A Big Mac attack or whatever, like another.
I don't think it was because he was hungry. He only did it because he wanted to be invincible, and to be invincible, you had to do something unbelievably heinous. Wow. In times of war, you had to be willing to eat.
Like you get their use or something. You get like their energy.
I don't know. Well, you're committing so far to terror and horror.
Did he feel
you would
invincible?
probably be? I mean, the berserker mentality that they must have had to be able to do that to innocent children. I mean, it's just to be completely inhuman like that. And then the fact that this guy, all he has to do is just learn about some old stuff and learn about Jesus and find the Word of God, and where everyone's like, all right, we're gonna We're gonna let you go, dude. I know you feel bad. You're a priest now. I mean, what are you? I mean, that is a crazy place to live.
Is it one of those priests that he can't have sex with women, or he can?
Oh yeah, he can fuck.
Okay. Most priests are allowed, right?
Yeah.
Like half and half.
No, most priests aren't. I think, right?
Are not allowed.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's what it is in Catholicism. It's nothing.
Catholicism, I know, is
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah, Catholicism is nothing. You're not allowed to fuck anybody. No fucking. Done. Period. But I think that's the only one that requires you to be completely celibate, right?
Oh yeah, other ones just you have to be married.
Well,
probably.
monks aren't right. Like Buddhist monks, they're not supposed to fuck.
That makes sense though. They go without talking too, right?
They had this interview with Dalai Lama recently.
Yeah.
It's funny that everybody's like listening to this dude. It was a real weird thing. It's like, you know, they asked him about women. It's like, yeah, sometimes I'm attracted to women, but
What?
then I think, oh, it's so much work and I can't do this.
Dalai Lama says that.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love his Twitter. I always check out his
Is it good?
photos. Yeah, he really is a cool guy, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think so. He's all positive.
It's
Dalai
funny.
Lama?
His his argument about being in relationships. He's like, oh, I can't. It's too much trouble.
There's a lot of
You
trouble.
know, but he's right in a lot of ways.
So he has sex though. He would go have a relationship.
I don't think he ever has. I think that's
What's it? Who's the Dalai
point.
Lama? Where did he come from? Is he?
I think he was
God?
born the Dalai Lama.
Oh,
Yeah, he was it's one of those things where you're
Yeah.
sort of.
Like
connected
I think
to
he's like the
Yeah.
16th or something like that.
It's what it is beyond ridiculous.
Oh, it's not.
He's
oh,
just a dude.
I was thinking it was Gandhi.
Is a dude that's been like, oh, Gandhi's a completely
Completely different guy from
Yes.
the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they should have met though.
I know.
I bet they would really hit it off.
Yeah.
They didn't? Do we
don't
know
know.
that they didn't?
I wish they did.
Play
Well,
some
the
cricket
Dalai
together.
Lama
They
looks
did.
like he's old enough to have known Gandhi. How old was Gandhi?
If there's a
when
lot
he
of Dalai Lamas, then there must have been one when he was
Yeah.
around.
I'm sure they're
died?
they're
When was
friends.
Gandhi around?
40s, 20s, 50s, 60s.
Did you see?
I mean, in the 1900s, I think.
Do you see Adam or Jimmy Kimmel go do the president's thing?
Yeah, what did he exactly say? Can you pull it up?
Oh, dude, that was.
He said a
up-
bunch of stuff. Put up the
pull
part
up the
about
video.
marijuana.
He did.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, that's so good.
He started if it was okay. He started strong, then it went a little slow for a while, and then by the time I got to the marijuana, I was like tuned out already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like everything was just skirting over my head, and then he ended strong.
No, it was just an uncomfortable situation.
He asked like, "How many people here have not smoked pot?"
Yeah.
And then like maybe a quarter of the crowd raised their hand, and then I think he made his point from there.
Yeah, it's
Play the shit out of it.
Yeah.
beautiful.
No, this is the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. I can find it.
Oh, I bet you can.
You're a fucking animal. Watch you find it.
Comedy, not only for his sense.
Kanye West a jackass. Which, no offense, sir, but I think you got the wrong West. I think you meant Alan.
This is the boring parts. I don't know any of these
6'1"
guys.
blonde with a perfect body.
George Clooney just hanging.
Members of the media, politicians, corporate executives, advertisers, lobbyists, and celebrities. Everything that is wrong with America is here in this room tonight. Unfortunately, the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, is on my glass, I think from last year. Nancy Pelosi believes in lipstick the same way she believes in government. Too much is never enough. Jake Tapper.
This was the
catalog.
so-so part.
That's how he was discovered. Some people say Mitt Romney won't be elected president because he's
It's like a
doing
really
a sweater
open-
vest.
What are you doing, Brian?
Yeah,
Let it play.
find this off the.
But let it play a little bit.
But in the end, Rick Santorum may not have won the nomination, but he succeeded in getting his message out, not just to Americans, but to people all aflat the world. Ron Paul is still in there. He's still sticking with it. To me, Ron Paul looks like the guy who gets unhooded at the end of every Scooby-Doo episode. It's great to see the Gingriches here tonight because I guess that means the check cleared.
Oh, shit.
This broke.
Newt, I have a question. How can you be against gay marriage when you yourself are the son of two gay parents, the Michelin Man and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
Oh, stumbled a little on marshmallow.
I don't understand politicians who are against gay marriage. I don't understand anyone who's against gay marriage. And when you really think about it, aren't all marriages kind of gay? I mean,
Whoa.
as a man, when you get married, essentially what you're saying is, I will never touch another woman as long as I live. Now let's put jewelry on each other and dance. Not that it's any of my business, Mr. Gingrich, but why are you waiting until Tuesday to drop out of this? Just do it now. It's time to mid or get off the pot. The election process has changed a lot over the last 10 years. As you know, the president finally gave in.
This is the bad part.
This
is terrible.
Shortchanging him.
But you know what? You know what's really good is there was an Olive Garden joke in it.
One of those big boxes with all the different kinds of chips.
Did you hear that?
No. See if we can get to the pot part.
Put it on mute until everybody raises their hands.
Let's get rid of super committees.
Watch for it.
Super committees are to committees what super cuts is to cuts.
This isn't it.
TV in 2000 of Madison. Let's take a quick poll. I would like everyone
He's so good at this,
Raise your hand if you've never smoked pot. There you go. Look at Britt Hume. He's high right now. He's on his 4th almond macaroon. Mr. President, I hope you don't think I'm out of line here, but marijuana is something that real people care about, and the fact that you believe Speaker Boehner, when he tells you he still has control of his party, leads me to believe that you must be smoking some crazy great weed yourself. Woody Harrelson just woke up. As we know now, last year at this dinner, President Obama had his team on the way to kill Osama bin Laden.
Is that it?
Yeah.
He's so good at that, man. That guy is, he's, in my opinion, I think he's the best talk show host alive.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
He's the best at, like, weaving between, like, this sort of a subtle, he's fucking around, like, way of talking.
Yeah.
With, like, being, like, a very, but a very professional, expressive announcer. It's like, he's so good at it, man.
I've gone a few times to watch because Barris does a warm up, so I'll just stand like on the side.
I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think Jimmy Kimmel's the best talk show host in the country.
The other ones are all done, right? Well, except Conan.
Well,
I guess, the other ones are all like old.
I still love Letterman because he's just, to me, Letterman is just he's a staple. I'll watch the
I think it's 'cause we grew up on him.
interview that he'll do, once a year.
Yeah.
I've always just. The guy, he's got so much history. Letterman is so good. He's so quick.
Yeah.
He's been around for so long, and I think Jon Stewart too.
I don't watch him anymore.
Jon Stewart is so committed to politics and that political show that I don't watch it as much maybe as I would if it was just like if Jon Stewart had his own show instead of just the Daily Show. But I think he's also one of the best.
Madrigal's on there all the time now.
Yeah. Al Madrigal is like one of the what do they have him? What is correspondence? Yeah, Al Madrigal's the shit.
He is.
He's such a great guy. Yeah. That guy's the best too. I think that he's the best at political stuff.
I think Colbert,
for sure.
that fucking tongue-in-cheek thing he does. It's like, how does he keep this going?
That's more a character to me.
I know, but I don't understand how he keeps it going. To take the opposite approach,
smart,
the opposite side, in order to mock that opposite side.
He must be smart as fuck.
He must be smart as fuck.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
We're talking about the airplanes landing in Israel.
What's that?
We're talking about his wife getting pulled over in Israel.
Oh, Brian's girl. Yeah. You said wife. You scared the shit out of me. I'm like, Brian, what'd you do?
I got married.
Oh. Dude, your girl that you were seeing went to Israel by herself, you were saying?
Yeah, she decided she wanted to she does that. She likes to travel. So she wanted to go to a yoga retreat in Israel, which is one of these places that you go to just relax, and it's kind of like a
spa.
Yeah, but it's a place you can live there also if you wanted to, if you help out there. It's like I guess a temple.
Rancho Relaxo.
Yeah.
Right.
What's it called?
Rancho Relaxo.
Something like that.
That's from The Simpsons.
I forget the name of it. Some Jewish name.
It's called Rancho Relaxo from now on.
Okay.
What Jewish? Oh, like with the mud in a lot.
Yeah.
The Dead Sea.
Yeah. What's it called?
The Dead Sea.
No. It's like some kind of
some company that's there. I don't know.
So anyway, she goes to Israel to some crazy yoga retreat,
and so because she bought her ticket last second, and because she was going by herself, I guess she's not Jewish, and I guess it's at a time of war, kind of. It's kind of war-y right now.
Yeah,
war-y.
And so they took her luggage for like 3 or 4 days, and she had to buy all new clothes, and they thought she was got questioned up and down, and I guess they really thought that she was some kind of like terrorist thing.
There was a girl who was a Jewish photographer, and she was over in Israel, and she was taking pictures
Any Leibowitz?
of artwork, like Palestinian graffiti. And since she had a photo of it on her laptop, the guys at the Israel, their version of TSA, they shot her laptop.
What?
They shot it?
They fucking shot it, and they gave it back to her. They blew a hole in her laptop.
Bullet through it.
Yeah.
Couldn't they just take out the hard drive and go, all right, here's your laptop back?
No, I mean,
message. Where do they shoot it?
They shot it in the back. She heard ba-bang, and then the guy comes out and gives her a laptop, and it's got a bullet hole in it.
That's crazy.
It's just
really weird.
I think he's trying to let her know, like, you know, I don't think he knew that she was a journalist. I think he probably thought she was someone that was seeing this, and she was taking pictures of it, like she thought it was funny or cool or whatever. For whatever disrespectful reason, this chick had it on her laptop in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, really? Yeah. You like looking at that? You like looking at someone talking shit about us? So he fucking...
So he just
He
randomly
shot a
looked
hole
at
in
it, saw Palestinian
No.
graffiti, and shot it?
No, he checked all her stuff. And as he's checking her laptop, he went through all of her photographs. And as
And
he's
found
going
some-
through her photographs, he saw this anti-Semitic graffiti that she had photographs of. So he closes it, pushes it aside, and fucking shoots it.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty intense.
I just know how she
That seems
travels,
weird.
though. I know that she probably had at least 20 to 30 different vibrators or dildos or sex toys in there. So I wonder if they thought all that shit was some kind of weapon. So I could just imagine all these Jewish guys like with these big vibrators, just like, I think it's okay.
It's not the Orthodox Jews that are watching people.
Yeah,
No, they search
how is there
everybody
such
there.
there's such a massive difference between Jews in America and Jews in Israel. There's really, it's like,
They have those Hasidic ones there, too, that are the same.
are they the same?
Yeah, the Hasidics are Hasidics.
She said she went right to the beach and it was just dirty and scary. And then she went to a couple of the places and it was just really freaky because there was people walking around with machine guns. And then she said there was a lot of gay people in one of the cities because I guess that's just a new thing there. That like a lot
Gays
of gay
is the
people
new
go,
thing?
Gay people go there.
It's a big city. Tel Aviv's a gigantic
Yes,
city.
yeah,
That's where she landed, Tel Aviv?
I think so.
Yeah, the beaches are not dangerous, by the way. People
No,
with
not
machine
dangerous.
guns are army people that are there all the time.
She just said it was
It's-
really
it's
dirty.
cool. It's cool to get used to. It
really-
takes some time to get used to.
How long did you live in Israel for?
2 years, 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
That's crazy.
What was it like for you?
It was great. It's
Yeah?
amazing. It's such a beautiful country. And Jerusalem's all built out of stone, pretty much, old Jerusalem. And everywhere, it's just like, yeah, things are great. Everybody sort of knows each other a little bit. Not like completely, but they're all, I mean, until recently, you get hitchhike everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. In between places, you just tell them.
Completely different now, though, right?
So-
Would you live
Yeah,
there
the
now?
Intifada's changed things. But
What is the Intifada?
the uprising, the Palestinian uprising.
That's what they call it, the Intifada?
That's what they call it.
Wow. What is the issue? Giving up land? What's the actual issue?
The actual issue is Palestinians started, and their chief tenet was, we want to drive the Israelis into the sea. And they're never going to give up on that. That was in their books. That's what they wanted.
Drive them into the sea?
Yeah. We will never rest until all the Israelis are driven into the oceans. That's what they want. So in the meantime, you have to figure out a way to like appease enough of them to give them the right amount of land and let the other ones not keep going to war with them.
So when you say that it's in their book, is that like in one of their religious books?
No, the PLO, when they started, that was one of their
Palestinian Liberation Organization. And that was linked to a lot of terrorist shit in the 1970s, right? Wasn't it?
the Munich, what's it called?
Yeah, the killings at the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's the other side say? Like, well, what's their story? Like, if you talk to Sam Tripoli, what would he say? That, like,
Sam would say that he's Armenian and quit downplaying his struggle for the struggle of the Palestinians. He goes, no one ever fucking respects the Armenians. The Turks wiped them out. It was
It's
the Turks.
true. The Armenian genocide. I didn't even hear about it until Manny Gamburian. I was doing a
He
fight.
told you about
and
it?
It was
Oh, they hate
the
that
anniversary of the Armenian genocide, and so
Yeah.
I'm honest. I just didn't know about it. I'm ignorant to it.
It was because only 1 million people died. So people were like, nah, get another word.
It's fucking incredible that there's been so many horrible things like that have happened in in the history of the world, rather. You know, that this Armenian genocide could be something that I wasn't aware of.
Armenians hate Turks. Like,
Yeah.
They hate them.
Well, when I was a kid, there was a kid that I used to train with who was he was Turkish, and they hated the Greeks.
Yeah.
Like Greeks and Turkish hated each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Don't Turks and Pakistan and India hate each other.
Kibbutz.
I always thought it was so ridiculous. I was like,
kibbutz?
really, Turks and Greeks, really? But in his eyes, man, it was like a serious conversation. He was a smart kid.
Yeah,
too.
people get nationalistic. I saw that Vladi Divac's documentary about him and wherever he was from, going to war. You know, internal strife. Maybe Czechoslovakia or Hungary, and his teammates were like all abandoned him because he wanted like unity and they wanted to break off. And there were all these like people there that were like 25, 26, like waving the break off flags, and getting really passionate. I'm like, well, I've never been into shit like that. Like we were all just like video games or whatever else there was. Like I can't imagine caring.
Well, you
about
never
politics
had to.
enough.
But you would if you were there.
Yeah.
You know, if you
But
were.
like, what if the East Coast was trying to break off and there was this nationalistic feel for the East Coast and we're different than them? Would you get caught up in it when you were little?
If you lived in that environment, it's likely you would.
I guess so.
Like being a Yankee fan.
It's so easy to
eventually pick up
imitate your
arms over
atmosphere. It's so easy to get sucked up in the wave of your atmosphere.
Yep.
It's just so weird when you think about how much human behavior can vary from spot to spot.
We have no strife in SoCal.
Yeah, nothing. No dealing with the weather. Our only problem is there's so many of us, and we need a lot of food.
Yeah. No war ever sees us.
Weed, food.
Yeah, your perspective here. That's why someone like Paris Hilton can be so offensive to people in other parts of the world. Someone
What
who's just
is
shallowly
that?
trying to attract attention to herself for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And when it's successful, it angers you. It's like, why is this even projected in front of me in a time where people are just dying
Is that why people
all
get so
over
angry
the place?
at Paris Hilton?
Sure, that's one of the reasons,
then
because she's
there's-
so vapid. Because
but then
the
there's enough
idea
other people-
behind wanting to be famous only for being famous
Yeah.
is so vapid.
But there's enough other people who are into it.
Well,
That's why they keep it on, like that and the Kardashians.
The issue is it opened up a whole new category of human being, and that category of human being is the
Vapid,
famous
I love that word.
professional celebrity for
Yeah.
no reason. Celebrity, the person who sneaks through the net and creates a whole new genre. And essentially, Kim Kardashian is a reality celebrity,
Yeah.
but she's a hugely successful media personality, and she did it from being just a person who fucked a guy in a video. I mean, the whole thing is really like.
And her dad was a lawyer.
Yeah, and not only that, a famous
incredible
lawyer who got O.J. Simpson off. But the whole thing behind it is that it's this weird desire to get attention for no reason other than that you want attention. Not offering anything. You just want people to look at you. You're not trying to sing. You just want people to follow you around.
But
It's
like a lot of people want that. But only
I
some
know,
people
but it's
get it.
so specific. It must
Yeah.
be so hard to arrange. You know, I mean, you're not trying to do anything. Like, I want to be famous. What do? I don't do anything.
But then people keep watching, so then you feel entitled. You're like, well, I do great stuff. Like, what? What are these great things you do?
Well, she fucked on video. I mean, really, that was the catalyst. That's what started it all off. So
had a
did Paris
great ass.
Hilton. They both did the same thing. They both fucked on video, and that got them in the spotlight.
And now
They
they're
got
the
him more in
White
the spotlight.
House. Now
But it's amazing, man. It is really an amazing trick. It's fascinating.
It launched Paris Hilton from just a model to
Yeah.
all those reality shows.
Yeah, but Kim Kardashian has far eclipsed Paris Hilton,
Yeah.
which is even more fantastic. Because Paris Hilton now does interviews, and they ask her, "Are you worried that your popularity might be waning?" And she got up and left and got pissed and told
Really?
told her publicist, like,
Because
she
she's
wasn't
done
gonna
nothing to
answer these
deserve it, so
questions.
why would it go away?
Exactly.
Because I've still done nothing. So
like
how could it go
She's
away?
not thinking as nearly as clearly as you. She's thinking, "Why would it? I'm still awesome."
she's better than Kardashian for me.
Why?
Really?
She's probably a fine person. Look, I probably
No,
would
she
like
is
both of
probably
them.
not a fine
Yeah, I bet
person.
she's a
Why
nice
not?
girl.
She's self-entitled.
Sure.
There's no way she's probably a fine person.
I bet if she was
bet-
sucking your cock, I think you'd have.
I bet
different-
she'd be great at sucking dick.
What
I
if you're
bet
just
if you were
Yeah,
hanging
you're right.
out with her, and maybe she's a little crazy and she grew up weird, but maybe she's a kind person.
I would give her a chance because I'd want that blowjob. And I
Yeah.
think that'd be a real possibility. I wouldn't be mean right away, but there's no way she's
You wouldn't be
helping
mean
your
right
life.
away,
So you're
but you would be
saying,
No way
building
she's
mean back.
enriching your life in any way. That's maybe like a 5% chance.
Maybe get her high on mushrooms and straighten her out, dude. Maybe
Maybe.
it's you. Maybe it's Ari who can straighten the whole thing out. Who better than
seen
the
her out
founder of
before.
Shroomfest?
That's right. Look, can we want to talk to Shroomfest?
Sure.
We got a date now, July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
Yeah, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to go anywhere for Shroomfest.
Yeah,
The
Shroomfest
beauti-
comes to you.
The beautiful thing is Shroomfest is a trip. And don't do it if it's illegal where you live.
We're talking shiitake, guys.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, don't do it if it's illegal where you live. We don't want you doing anything silly and going
Do
to
you
jail.
know what I heard? They made in Amsterdam. They made them illegal because some kids jumped out of a building or something.
Yeah.
That's like that Bill Hicks joke.
What?
Young man on acid thought he could fly, jumped off the roof. What a tragedy. He goes, what a tragedy. What a dick. If he thought he could fly, why didn't he start off on the ground first?
Yeah, that's right. Why did they all get the top
He
story?
goes, oh, we
Fly.
lost a moron. The world got a little lighter.
That's a Hicks joke?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
was
See,
one of those-
are you like a Hicks joke?
See, it's one of his best.
Yeah.
Yeah, the young
No,
man
I
on
would have to
acid.
hear him say it. Something
He
does.
also had this. You never hear a positive drug story in the news. And I don't want to butcher this because I don't want to paraphrase it. But this young man on acid, and it was a beautiful, positive message that he learned from acid.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of great drug jokes.
Yeah.
It's just weird that he quit drugs so young and then died so young. The human body is so fucking, for some folks, so fragile.
Yeah.
I've been reading about these people that get these weird like fibers growing out of their skin. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
What is
What
it?
is that shit called again?
I don't know. It's disgusting.
I was introduced to it on there was like one of those conspiracy theory shows, like those Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory shows.
Yeah.
And they were talking about
Chemtrails. It was chemtrails.
yeah, something to do with chemtrails. Morgellons. Hold on a second. Let me pull
in
this
this
up.
one certain town in like California, like a lot of them have.
And then what?
this
People
shit.
start growing fibers out of their skin.
Yeah, it's like
that
these
sounds like
weird-
such X-Files shit.
Yeah.
It
it
totally
really
sounds
is.
like complete horseshit. But the pictures are really bizarre, man.
Yeah.
It's there's like actual fiber that's coming out of their skin. Like, look, Ari, come here, check this out.
For the audio listeners,
This
describe
is
it.
this is something, a fiber that they pulled out of someone's skin that had this morgellons. I mean,
weird.
it looks like a sweater's growing inside of you.
Or it looks like a mosquito though. That picture.
Yeah, well, that picture is like pretty extreme.
Yeah.
That
But,
whole thing
uh,
that goes around.
Yeah, what a fucking weird disease, man. And no one knows what the hell that is. I mean, these people, some of them have gloves on, and they have these fucking hairs that are growing out of all over their body. It's a relatively new problem that seems to be growing in leaps and bounds throughout the U.S., even in other countries. Although condition Morgellons possibly dates back to the 1600s, it's only been since 2002 that it's become a modern-day concern.
It's probably has something to do with the internet,
Wow.
Wow.
like Wi-Fi signals.
Dude, we're growing wires.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that was really what it is?
We're growing antennas.
Jesus Christ. You know how crazy that would be? Oh my.
That's the next stage of development.
Yep.
Autism and antennas.
Yep.
And different people are
Autistic
moving
antennas.
different
Well,
things.
we can't keep thinking that we're going to stay the way we are.
I know, but isn't it supposed to happen so slowly that you would never in one lifetime notice any change?
How do we know that? There's been a lot of discrepancies about like how long it takes. There's a lot of arguments and disagreements about how long it takes for an entity to evolve. But one of the things that they know is the Congo. The Congo is a kind of a crazy place where it used to be grasslands.
Yeah.
And then a rainforest essentially grew there really rapidly. And over a period of 2,000 years became a dense, massive rainforest where it used to be grassland. So all these grasslands animals got trapped in the jungle and had to evolve. They had to change. And one of them, there's an antelope thing called a diker.
And how much
It
time
fucking
was this?
Swims.
How much time was this?
Less than 2,000 years.
Okay,
it
over 2,000.
swims underwater and eats fish.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
It's in the
Like a
antelope
reindeer?
family. I think it's called a diker.
Wow.
Yeah, it actually swims underwater and fucking eats fish. It can swim underwater for 100 yards.
Whoa.
Where'd that come from? I'll tell you why. They had to figure out how to survive.
Yeah, somebody has the first, like, let's say you grow a third eye, let's just say, somebody had to be the first person as it slowly develops to see through that eye.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be the
Right.
first guy to have that.
If something like that would mutate and happen and
Right.
become a successful transition, yeah, someone would have to be the first, or at least have the first, like stubs of it. Like like some people are born with like a little stub of a tail.
Yeah.
Pigtail.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a pigtail.
But how come chimps don't have tails and we're supposed to be related to chimps? Do chimps are they ever born with little tails?
Most of us don't have it, though.
No, very few of us have it.
No.
I wonder if it's just a normal deformity, just a normal slip
If
of
it's your brother's foot.
Can anybody move it? Can anybody
like
control
wag your
it?
tail.
Yeah.
That would be fucked. Imagine if you were a person, you could wag your tail.
Actually, it was a cat tail. That
Would you even want to take it off?
It's a cat tail, Joe.
Yeah, you'd probably find some weird pride out of it, but it's like, it's not. don't
What
be
if you
proud
had
of it, it's just a
awesome
fucking
balance
bone.
because of it?
Oh.
What if you could do that flying Walenda shit like no problem because you got a cat?
Just because of that?
Cats have the most ridiculous balance, man. I've tried to push cats off of banisters. I'm like, get off that banister, bitch. And the cat's like, oh, not that easy.
All the way off, like a
motherfucker.
weeble wobble, then
Yeah,
right back
it
up.
Slides sideways on a banister.
Yeah.
Did you see that video
Yeah.
of the chimp versus the cat UFC match?
No.
Oh, it's badass. Google it sometime. It's great. It's a little monkey and a cat fighting.
Are they really fighting or are they playing?
They're playing,
Oh,
but the
okay.
cat has some. Cats have really good jujitsu.
Oh, they grabbed
Yeah.
around.
Cats are, we're just comfortable with them because they're really tiny.
They're all feral in Israel.
All cats?
Yeah, they brought them in. Yeah, nobody has them as pets because they're so fucking disgusting. They brought them in to hunt the rats.
And they just
The
took
British
over.
did. Yeah, then they had no natural enemies.
You guys should kill them off because I bet you got toxoplasma like a motherfucker.
They're all out. They're just out. They're dead by the side of the road.
Ugh.
They're just everywhere. They're like
Ugh.
a problem.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't like feral
They're tough
cats.
too. They're tough.
Mean, man.
Yeah.
Feral cats are little monsters.
Get away.
Yeah, they'll fuck you up, dude. They'll jump at you too. If you corner a feral cat, man, be fucking. That thing's
I
gonna
don't think
try
I've
to
ever
kill you.
seen one, or maybe I just thought it was just a normal cat that was just crazy.
Well, feral cats are just wild cats. It's an amazing difference the way they behave.
Like farm cats? Are you talking about farm cats?
Sure, farm
like
cats
that.
can be
Oh, yeah,
feral
yeah.
too.
Farm cats are just retarded.
Just meat big.
well,
they get
I think-
straight up on walls.
Yeah.
So high. Like, how are you gonna get up there?
Yeah, feral cats are. I had a
claws.
feral kitten, and they only will connect themselves to one or two people. They,
Really?
Yeah, they really hate people. I was the only person that this cat could like trust enough to pick up.
Like the horses in
Like
Avatar.
I could never, if something was wrong with him, I could never bring him to a vet. You couldn't.
Oh.
No one could take care of him but me. No one could even hold him but me. And I got him because a friend of mine, she was living in this apartment building, and her boyfriend found them underneath the house. They found like a whole litter of kittens, and apparently the mother had died or something like that. It was a wild cat, and she gave birth, so they captured all the kittens. And then they started trying to find homes for him. And I said, "Oh, that's such a crazy story. I got to take it."
Yeah.
So I took it, and I had to stay in a room with it for 2 days because it was so crazy and so nuts. Like to get it comfortable with me, I had to be like next to it for 2 days. So I just put a room in my house, my guest room. I put a litter box in there, put his cat food in there, and put a couple notebooks and some books.
Notebooks?
So I said, yeah,
To
so I can
claw
write
up?
shit down,
Oh, yeah.
and then I'll do some reading and just hang
Yeah.
out with this fucking cat for a couple days.
To get it comfortable with you.
Yeah, so that's what I did for 2 days. I every time I'd go near, he would fucking climb up the
And then you just get calm.
there's like curtains, climb up the curtains and go fucking crazy. And I go, calm down, little buddy, calm down, calm down. And then I touch him, and then he would start purring and purr like really loud. He went from
Into it.
abject fear and terror to like purring so loudly, so happy that I'm actually taking care
Wow.
of him. Like, he didn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why this big giant pink thing.
You
is
turned it
moving
out
towards
pretty
him.
much.
Well, I had to turn him into my buddy,
Yeah.
but I was the only one that could touch him. Like even
Everyone else would be so skittish around.
and even me, I would like if I'd come up to him, like I had to take him to the vet
Yeah.
once, and this is a really bad time, man. It was fucking bad. This cat jacked my arm. I had to throw a towel over him and tackle him.
Really?
Yeah, and he was
scratch fever?
fighting, man. He was fighting, and then I brought him to the vet, and I told him that, I go, listen, man, this cat is feral. Like, don't worry, we've had 25 years here.
Yeah.
I gave them that cat, and they said, well, you weren't kidding when you said he was feral. I go, yeah, it's a feral cat, man.
Yeah, I wasn't
That cat's
kidding.
crazy. He goes, that cat is the craziest cat we've ever had in here. I go, yeah, that's a wild cat, big black crazy cat. You know
Did I ever tell you what my dad did in the army with the kittens?
what?
They
Oh,
had to
yeah,
make
you
him
did.
raise.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if Will Ferrell, if ever,
Wait, hold on, you got to listen to the story.
They made him raise. My dad was in special. What are they called in the army?
Special forces.
Yeah, and back then, and what they do is they make you learn how to take care of things. You know, just so you can know how to like care for your other GIs or whatever. But so they give you a kitten, just like they give you that egg to care for in like middle school. They give you a kitten, you got to raise it for like 2 weeks or a month. I forget, and you got to make sure nothing goes wrong with it. If something goes wrong with it, if it gets sick, you're in trouble. You got to take care of it. In addition to running all your laps and doing everything, and doing all your regular chores. And at the end of the 2 weeks, you have to present this healthy kitten. And then once you present a healthy kitten, they go, okay, now snap its neck. And they make you snap its neck right there, so they can shut you off and turn you into a machine.
Wow.
After you've cared for it for 2 weeks, kill it with your bare hands. Not even like give it up for adoption.
What the fuck? What was the story in the Bible where God was telling someone to kill his son?
Abraham,
What was the story behind
a
that?
test to kill Isaac. He had to kill Isaac, and it was it not his firstborn? Was Isaac his firstborn? And then this is when the split off happened between the Arabs and the Jews. It was right then.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because Isaac's brother was technically the firstborn, so he should have gotten the birthright. And the Jews say that he didn't. It went to Isaac and then Jacob.
Okay. So
they're
God
cousins.
said to Abraham, I want you to kill Isaac.
Yeah, so he takes him to this mountain.
His son.
Yeah, take your son. He takes him to this mountain, puts him up on an altar. Yeah, and then he goes to raise a knife over his head. And God sent a sign. He sent a ram, which is a normal thing you sacrifice. He sent a ram right then, and that was a sign. Even though rams were indigenous to that area at the time, it was definitely a sign from God. Some retard God who couldn't fucking get his full words out, so he just sent a ram. And that obviously means don't kill your son, kill this ram instead, and then blow the horn once or twice a year, because that's so obvious. That's what it means. Because he couldn't have just said, hey, don't kill your son, and that's a good enough sign. He had to send a ram to walk by.
So passionate.
Crazy
Such stupid idiot shit once you
Brian,
realize, once you get
imagine if
older.
you were a little kid and you got sent to Israel to study this 10, 12 hours a day like Ari did. I mean, you'd probably be pretty passionate about it.
How are we supposed to take that for granted? He sent a sign. It was a ram walked by. Oh, yeah, that's a sign, obviously.
How crazy was he that he was about to kill his kid?
Kill his son.
Because God wanted him to.
And then the issue became like, while we were still religious, the issue became like, well, why would God command that? Why would that be a test for him? Why would you do it? And you just wanted to see, you knew if he was able to. If there was a test, you're God. You knew he was going to be able to. So, like, why wouldn't you just say, okay, good, you're up for it?
You know, you would know more than anybody about how much of what you read when you were reading the Talmud, how much of what you read had been translated several times. How many times had it been translated before it got to when you read it in modern day Hebrew? How many times has it been transferred to get to that?
No. Well, it's the Torah is written exactly the same as it always was.
Always.
Yeah.
So you read it in ancient Hebrew?
Yeah, even with the same shapes of the letters.
Is it the Old Testament that's different?
Yeah, and then the Talmud that was handed down like orally for a while. And they were afraid it was going to get lost because of some dispersion, so they wrote it down.
The oldest versions of the Bible are the ancient Hebrew versions, right? Except for the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is not technically considered the Bible, even though some of the stories are
I'm not 100%
similar,
on those.
right?
Yeah.
So they said that the oldest versions were in ancient Hebrew. That the real problem
scrolls?
was they when they translated it to Greek and Latin, they said that they only knew like 3/4 of the words in ancient Hebrew.
Yeah, the specific meanings to words,
Yeah.
they don't know all those because some of those words didn't make it to modern Hebrew, and they don't really have a good lineage to say like where was this exact word. Like if I said, let's just say gently or lovingly, they could mean the same thing at certain times.
Right.
I gently said whatever, I lovingly said. It's similar, but there's differences, and that's why we have two different words.
When was this transition between ancient Hebrew and modern Hebrew?
Probably during the dispersion. We got, cast out to all different. That's when we got white Jews and black Jews after that. The ones went to the.
What year was that?
I don't know.
And so, so Israel or the Jews, the modern Jews, they kept the certain modern version of Hebrew.
Yeah, it was like 4,000 years ago, probably something like that.
But you guys also have numbers, which
No, they brought it back.
They brought it back.
When
they brought it back ancient Hebrew?
They went, sort of a modern Hebrew, I guess, but they just sort of made it. When they decided, like, what should our language be? And they're like, let's bring Hebrew. It was a dead language.
Oh, it was a dead language.
Yeah, and
really?
Ben-Gurion and all those people said...
when was this?
1948, 47.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Hebrew was a dead language in
Yeah, nobody was speaking
1948?
it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nobody's speaking it. And there's some people that treat it as, like, holy. It's a little much, but they treat it as holy and they won't speak it. They'll only speak Yiddish during the week. And then Shabbat, boom. That's when you hit them with the Hebrew.
And what is Yiddish? What's the difference between Yiddish and Hebrew?
Is sort of weird bastardized mixture. It's like Southern talk, Creole. It's like not quite English.
Yeah.
This is a mixture of Hebrew and like Germanic mixed with whatever country you're from.
When you
It's
hear
a
like
little different.
Yiddish chicks talk, does it get you hard?
There's
Like,
no such thing as
you
Yiddish
dirty
chicks.
bitch.
No, because anyone talks that's old.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's only old talk?
and Jewish. Yeah, like nobody talks like that anymore.
How much is different in that and modern Hebrew?
Yiddish? It's mostly German.
So you most
Das ist gut.
do
Yeah,
most
it's
kids
gut. Yeah.
understand it? Like Israeli kids, would
I
they
think more
understand
German
Yiddish?
kids would get it better.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, it's so incredible when you stop and think about how many different languages there are.
Oh yeah, and they all developed somewhat similarly.
And how long was it before they actually started writing shit down? How long did they have language before they actually wrote things down?
Yeah,
'Cause I've
I
read-
know a while before they put signs to it.
Probably tens of thousands.
Except it
of
didn't happen the
years.
other way.
Yeah, I don't know how long the first written language was, but I don't believe it was more than 10,000 years ago,
Yeah,
which is really like nothing.
Yeah, I hear this.
It's kind of crazy. It kind of hurts your head when you stop and think about it.
That's as long as we've been able to communicate without being there.
Stop and just try to put your head around that. And this is what I would always use as an example. If I was in a crowd, say if I was doing a comedy show and there was 100 people in the audience, I would say, what you guys represent, if you lived your lives, birth to death, just this little room, a little tiny group of people, of 100 people, but what you represent in terms of potential life.
One person lived his whole life, the next person was born. Then the
Exactly.
Next
if they lived their lives birth to death to the max, which is like 100 years, which is the most anybody ever lives, they represent 10,000 years.
Yeah, and that's as long as...
That's incredible. That's as long as we know about human beings.
Wow. But like 4,000 years ago when we got the Bible,
that's right?
Yeah.
100 people.
That's when everyone was like Bedouins.
They lived 100 years. Isn't that 10,000?
100 people living 100 years?
Yeah. 100 people living 10 is 1,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. Stop and think about that. 10,000 years ago. And it's just a little tiny room full of people living their lives birth to death represents the distance between us of today and nothing written.
I have 3 math jokes. Yours is way better than all 3 of those.
3 what jokes?
Math jokes.
Math jokes.
I call them math jokes, where there's numbers involved, so they actually have to think before they laugh.
That's not really a math joke, but it's a what the fuck thinking thing.
Yeah.
It's
if you want to check his math, it takes you a second.
Yeah.
No.
I've been really getting into Game of Thrones. I watched the whole first. Oh, it's amazing. It's the best show I've ever watched. I watched the whole first, but it's like I love that kind of shit. I love that Conan the Barbarian type swords and sorcery type shit. I love that stuff. I love it. So I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. But it's making me think. I mean, although obviously this is a work of fantasy fiction, it makes me think of what it must have been like if you had to live like these people lived. With swords on horses. I mean, there was a time where people actually lived like that. That is how they hunted. They used bows and arrows. They did live in these houses. They did have castles, and they did have armies, and they did have moats. I mean, these are all realistic.
Yeah.
Realistic depictions of a certain time. Take away the sorcery and all the other crazy stuff. There was people that in just a few thousand years ago lived like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to wrap your head around how short of a distance it is between that time when people lived like in the Robin Hood days and today. It's like nothing.
You know what'd be cool though? It would still be cool having like, hey, I got these new silver horseshoes. Have you seen these things?
Silver
it's a different
horseshoes?
Color. Like where even though you lived back in those days, people were still making new things up and but the things were like different. Like,
they'd make up a new thing every like 140 years.
Yeah, they didn't
then
make
one
up
new
much.
thing would come.
Yeah, I'm sure there was little things here and there though, just like everything.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a few interventions.
It was so lame. Like when they got Chinese finger traps, they were blown away by that.
Yeah,
it wasn't just a party favor.
I bet the blacksmith back then was like the Apple. Like he would come in, come here, look at this thing I made. This is a new.
Well, they were artisans. That's something that's really getting lost. We talked about that when Aubrey was on here last. We talked about that Musashi documentary.
What, about things getting lost?
No, it was they showed how they used to make samurai swords, and there's a few people alive that still make them that way today.
Yeah,
it's crazy. You have to be the ultimate craftsman. I mean, if you and I were left alone and to figure it out on our own for a million years, we'd never figure out how to make a fucking samurai sword.
Yeah.
The way they do it is so incredible. They hammer it down, then they fold it over, and then they hammer it down. Like they keep flattening it and hammering it and flattening it and hammering it until it becomes this intense steel that you can just fucking slice through bamboo. I mean,
Jesus.
It's really amazing watching the artisan work, the craftsmanship, and the knowledge passed down through generations and generations of how to make a sword. When you stop and think about it, it's like how many people are out there in the world today that know how to make anything even remotely like that? Everything we're buying that's manufactured is manufactured in some sort of a factory. And if you're going to buy a sword, this is a big machine that's going to cut it and make it with a computer and a laser and shit. There's not going to be some Japanese dude in flip-flops with wooden bottom shoes fucking bang, bang, bang. It's wild to watch, man. It's wild to watch what people used to have to do to make something. It really makes you appreciate like how ridiculously easy it is to live
everything
today.
is now. People are like, I liked it better the other way. I'm like, why? These things are sometimes a lot better.
Metal? Like you just melt rocks, right, or something like that.
Yeah, you have to
mine it. It's in the rocks.
Yeah, and to make steel, you have to add things to it too. It's not just iron. No, to make steel, I think you have to. We should actually look that up.
Yeah, like
How do you make steel?
Steel was a
back in the
different thing
Disney,
than
what did
iron.
they do? Just took some rocks and
Well, they
Put
had
on
to
a
heat
fire.
things
They had to
up.
they had to
Yeah, they had
mine
to
it.
heat them up. They had to mine the metal. They
There's
had
big
to heat
ore.
it up. Okay,
There's
they
big, like,
have to.
pockets of metal in the ground.
They
It's
have
like
to add
water.
stuff to the steel. They have to add stuff to iron. It's
licorice?
combined. It's an alloy, technically. It says, according to Wikipedia, made by combining iron and another element, usually carbon. And when carbon is used, its content in the steel is between 0.2% and 2.1% by weight, dependent upon the grade.
Who figured that out?
I don't know.
that was given to us by.
So I guess they had to
aliens.
add shit. So
I was
they,
like,
they
God, I wish this was
added-
harder. Someone else was like, why don't you add carbon? And the first
Yeah,
guy was
how
like,
did-
what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I mean, that's been around for a long ass time too. So who was the first
Carbon?
person that somebody told somebody? That doesn't seem like that.
That's
makes
alien
sense.
technology.
You know what the craziest shit in the world is?
What?
Steel cable.
What is
Who would
that?
have ever found some metal in the ground and thought for a second that someone is going to take this shit and have so much of it that they're going to have a fucking 5,000 foot long cable made of steel, and they're going to use that to suspend giant beams that weigh several hundred tons over an ocean.
Yeah.
Did you look at like steel cable? Steel cable is crazy. Someone figured out how to take metal,
That's a t-shirt.
pull it out of the ground, and stretch that shit. It's hard. It's hard. How
it somehow
how the fuck are
moves
you?
it.
How is it moving around? How are you making cables out of this? What did you do? They figured out how to not just make it, but make it so it's big enough to pull boats. You can have giant, huge ones that are they're wider around than your body is.
And that's a cable.
And we just said take it for granted. Well, I'm gonna just get a cable and put a winch on the front of my Jeep in case I get stuck out there while I'm four-wheeling. You know, people, they have winches and shit so they can pull cars out. They like to be the cool guy who can pull you
Oh,
out
yeah,
of a
yeah,
ditch.
yeah. Is that steel
If
cable?
you're driving in the mud. Yeah, that's fucking steel cable. That
wow.
winch is steel cable, man.
And so you get caught up in that, it's just going to snap your arm off.
Oh my God, yeah, it'll rip your body apart. Steel cable, they can pick up trees with that shit. You can put a winch on. It depends on the power of the winch. But if it's a good winch, you can pull hundreds of pounds.
That's why black guys like it so much. I always hear them
What?
like taking it from buildings, stealing cables.
Oh, yeah, that's the little cable. Stealing.
You silly bitch. No, steel cable. Like, you don't pay for it, Brian.
Oh,
Not like steel cables. Think about the first guy who invented wires. Who figured out how to stretch out some metal?
Think about
so
the real
far.
heroes. Like the first guy to actually steal cable. Like somebody fucking figure that out and then share that
Oh, that was
information with
easy.
people.
I remember I used to have.
Everybody did. Who figured that out, though?
There was a guy that lived in the neighborhood that would leave up a thing when satellite dishes first came out.
Yeah.
He would leave up like on telephone poles. This is how
up
gangster
what?
it was in 1993. He'd leave up a phone number and it would say, you know, fix your satellite box to catch any channel. And so you would give this guy your card, and then he would come back and bring
yeah,
the card back
swap
to
it.
you, and it was doctored. And the card could get everything. It got every pay-per-view movie, every porn, everything that happened. It would get, but it would never work. It would
Really?
It would work for like a day.
I know those things working, but they said they would send a signal to fuck it up.
Yeah, they crush it, and then it just got to a silly point where I think me and my roommate were like, "Why are we doing this? Like, let's just pay for this fucking
We didn't
thing
want this stuff.
so we can actually have a TV on. This is so stupid, you know."
I saw at the bar. Did I say how I saw at the barber shop in Atlanta? The guys had hacked their Mac Apple TV, and it had like every single channel, HBO, every movie that was in the theaters. It was just
Really?
like watch now, and it was set up so cool. Like I forgot all about it, but whatever it is, you can live off of just that. Like it had streaming channels, it had Ustream channel, it had everything you could possibly want. New movies in theaters. It was weird.
Oh, I got a disturbing story for you.
Uh-oh.
Remember we went to Vancouver
Yes.
and we went to visit that pot shop,
Yes.
but they couldn't sell it to us because we were
Right.
out of state. But somebody hooked us up anyway. He got fired for that.
For hooking us up?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
My guy got fired because he shouldn't have hooked us up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's so bad, right? It was like he was like, no, I can't help. But then he went outside and just gave us some.
Yeah, he couldn't sell us any, so he gave us some.
And you gave him tickets to the UFC after that.
Yeah, what the fuck? That guy got
They
fired.
got
for that?
fired. I was like, oh, this is the right way to handle it.
Probably bragged too much about the tickets for the UFC.
Yeah.
Maybe that
They
was
were
the
like,
problem.
I don't know. That sucks though. Sorry to hear about that, buddy.
I was like, oh, I was like, that's I feel really bad for you.
Someday it's going to be easy to go anywhere and be able to buy weed, just like you can go anywhere and buy a beer. How it should be. You should be a fucking tax-paying grown adult who walks in there and acts like a gentleman and picks up whatever the fuck you need. Whether you'd like to buy a bottle of wine to go with dinner,
Yeah.
or whether you'd like to get an eighth of weed because you and your chick are going to watch movies and fuck. How about that? Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that? You fucking controlling douchebags.
Should be a behind-the-counter purchase. They have to go
Jesus.
there with the key.
Yeah, it should be super easy. Here's your ID. Can I see your ID? Okay, you're 21. Here's your weed, Mr. Shaffir. Take it easy.
21.
Nonsense,
That'll be
silly
18.
bitch. No.
No?
Not for weed.
Has to be 21?
I think it should be 4.
Yeah.
We should be able to get them high really young.
I took half an Adderall today. This is like the second time I've ever done Adderall before. And
First of all,
this is the first time that I feel like it. Like it's like a sativa. I think if you are a fan of Adderall,
Yeah.
if you got a really good sativa, it would be pretty similar. So
Wow, really?
I think so.
No,
I mean,
it makes your body all jacked up and moving. It's similar in some way. But here's the deal, Brian. When you say half an Adderall, you have to understand there are different values for different pills.
Yeah, you
half
seem
of a
to-
5 milligram Adderall is far different than the 40
Yes,
that you
yes.
might have split in half.
yeah.
By the way, powerful
Yes.
Ari Shaffir T-shirts.
But
for
yeah,
folks
these are awesome.
watching on
You
YouTube.
guys didn't have to wear them while I was here. I was just
they're
going to give
cool.
it to you.
I like his tongue. Look at his tongue. It's got some stuff on
And
it.
where can anybody buy these, dude? These are actually really cool.
I'm going to have them online in like a week or two, but right now at my live dates.
Nice.
I love it, Ari.
Pester Ari on Twitter, ARISHAFFIR, to make sure that he comes strong and
Yeah, they're
correct
really cool.
with the T-shirts.
He's got LSD and ecstasy on his tongue, and there's the pink elephants on parade. From
Beautiful.
Dumbo.
It's,
Dude, you
it's
look
actually
nuts.
a shirt I would wear.
There's
a
a hot
lot.
bitch on your head.
Yeah,
I like it.
hot naked black chick with a mushroom
yeah.
leaf right next to her.
There's only one place I can't wear this shirt though. Like a comedy
Where?
club would be kind of weird. Right?
Just wear it, bitch. Don't be scared. I wear it. I'll wear this on stage. If I knew that you had this, I would have wore this for my special.
yeah.
What? Really?
How about
Yeah.
that? That'd be a cool shirt. I would have totally wore this for my special. How about this? I'll wear this for my next special. I'm committing to it right now.
Right now, they'll be gone. This is a 2012 shirt. I want to have a
What are you
different
talking
tour
about?
shirt
I'm
every
going to
year.
wear this next year.
Oh, yeah.
My goal now,
You're gonna
after
do it?
this-
You're gonna try to do it?
After doing Atlanta, is to try to do another one in a year.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's,
So,
that's
how's
what
your
I've been
new
trying to
material?
do.
Let's hear some new jokes of yours, like some notes of yours right now.
Oh, I can't tell you
Here's-
because then people at
Could
the
it be
shows.
weird to see it? Like
Here's
like
the thing that
progression.
helped me.
No.
Here's the thing that really helped me. When you're thinking in terms of this, with Tom Segura asked Bill Burr about it, and he broke it down to what an hour is, and he goes, that's 5 minutes a month. So if
Yeah.
you get pretty much any new month that you're like, am I 5 minutes ahead of where I was, and just time it that way,
Yeah.
and just keep a pace for yourself.
Yeah.
Where you're either ahead of
I-
pace or behind pace.
I had 5 new minutes the first time on stage because there was a bunch of shit that I had written that the last couple of months, I hadn't committed to any new stuff. I was just trying to just completely tighten the old stuff, except this circumcision bit that just came out of nowhere. I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
I had to put it on, and it just fit in with all this other shit I had to. But other than that, all my writing that I had from all that time is all bankrolled.
What do
So
you mean?
I just have to go over the writing, the fucking just
Oh,
the
right.
nuttiness. I just
Yeah.
have to go over the
Go
nuttiness.
back to your notes that you didn't explore because you're like, I got stuff right now.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
So since I did still keep writing, there's a
Yeah.
lot of ideas. I just have to sort of set them up.
But
Did you
this will
end up-
make yourself go through them.
Did you end up doing the baby bee?
No, I
No.
didn't do that one. No, that's 2 specials. That joke. That's gonna be like.
Jeez.
Save it for another
you need
one.
to start working.
No. I had a thought. Here's what you do.
What?
YouTube video. Just release
Yeah,
that as a
I
YouTube
should.
video.
I should.
Get it out there on your own YouTube account.
Yeah, hire some actors.
I mean,
to
that bit is
portray it.
that bit is 3 or 4 years old and so
Yeah.
ready to go and be done.
Have Don Barris be the baby.
Yeah, I'm so immature with my sense of humor that I have so many jokes about someone getting blown.
Just absolutely use that to promote the special when you have it. Just, here's one free. The next time you
Maybe.
go to a big club, just tape it, Brian. Fucking tape it from the back.
Maybe
From behind you.
Get a close up of them and get a
behind
far
you.
away shot of them and cut those together.
I'll go behind you.
Whoa.
No, not behind.
What? Why are you
behind
nodding
you,
so
man.
Adderall.
But it was the Atlanta thing couldn't.
It
have
went
gone
great,
any
right?
better. Couldn't have gone any better, man. These crowds are completely different crowds.
Yeah.
The crowds that we're getting now are 100% podcast fans. And it's like hanging out and doing a show in front of our friends. It's like a
Yeah.
bunch of friends that we don't know that well.
And the other people who come just to come for
Yeah.
shows, they're like, oh, this is a really fun thing.
Dude, they're
Be
so
a part of.
overwhelmingly nice. It's crazy. I don't know how we did it. I don't know what exactly the combination was to create that, but that's very unusual. It's very unusual when you talk to people that work at clubs and people that work at theaters. They go, "Your crowd is the nicest crowd we've ever seen ever."
Oh yeah, they're pretty cool.
No one's even close.
They're good tippers.
They're good. They're generous, and they were fucking so pumped for the show, dude. It was nuts. I was so comfortable. It was the only time I've ever done a special where I didn't feel at all like, "Oh shit, I'm filming right now."
Really?
I was completely in the groove. I had done so much stand-up leading up to that too.
You just felt comfortable and
I
natural.
did all my work, and then on top of that, the crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
But now it's that the big challenge is to create a whole new hour.
Yeah.
So I have to really sit down, and I have all these scattered notes. So I'm gonna have to do some organizing of those.
Ice House.
Yeah,
This
we're
is-
gonna do some Ice House shows.
This is what
Wanna
Louis
do
said-
Wednesday? Can we do Wednesday? See if we can do Wednesday. Do you think we can?
Probably not.
Probably not. If we can, let's do it.
This is what Louis said too. After you do the first year, when you start the same process again the next year, and it seems as daunting as it does right now, you'll be like, "Oh no, I know this leads to a new hour of material,
Yeah.
so it's okay. I can do this." It's
Yeah.
like bench pressing to get bigger.
Well, I know that writing to me is just like it's like doing rounds on the bag or doing minutes on an elliptical machine. You build endurance.
Yeah.
You build like a groove. And right now, I'm in good writing shape. I feel like
Yeah.
when I write a lot, I get in good writing
Yeah,
shape.
it's a muscle. Sure.
Yeah, and I think it comes out better the more you use it, and it comes out your editing skills on the fly get better.
Better writing now than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
No
You've
doubt.
been doing it a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I always wondered what would happen as I got older, like if my stand-up would start to suck one day. I always worried about that. I always worried about like hitting a peak and then not being good anymore.
It seems like there's a plateau you can get. It's like kind of like pool where you can play later, do stand up later into your years. It's not like a 40-year-old retirement moment.
Yeah, well, I think it has to do with your physical health too. If you get depressed and you feel like shit, I bet your comedy is going to start to not be as fun and not be as good. I think part of the commitment to your
Stand-up does all the
craft.
time.
Well, he's a different kind of stand-up. Stand-up's comedy almost depends on him being miserable.
Yeah, it does.
I think almost every comic I know seems like they're depressed and miserable.
They
There are
don't
a lot
have to
that
be.
are. There are a
They
lot
don't
that
have
are.
to be. It's not necessary, but that can fuel you. It can fuel you to go up there and get that charge. Where I know in times of my life where I wasn't happy, I would go on stage and kill. I'd at least feel like I could do something.
Rage against something.
Yeah, and I at least feel like I'm capable of something. Like if I could go on stage, if I'm feeling like a loser, I'm feeling depressed, and I can go on stage and get a bunch of people to laugh, I'll just like, okay, I'm not bad at this. I did a good job with this. I can feel a little better now. It
Yeah,
gives
exactly.
you a little pick me up.
Short term. So they all gave you a standing ovation before you even went on stage?
Yeah, it was nuts. Couldn't have been
Place
better.
was insane.
It could not have been better. And there was a lot of traffic because there were some crazy basketball games going on at the same time. And we got stuck. Like it was really hard for everybody to get there. So the show didn't even start for like a half an hour late. So like everybody was building up. So when the lights went off and when I came on the microphone to introduce Joey, they went fucking crazy. And it was so funny because my manager and Chandra and Jeff, they're the best. Like I've been with Jeff since I was an open micer, essentially. Like he came and found me in Boston where I was a scrub. And I think that one of the main reasons why I've been successful is that I don't have to think about the business stuff. I just let him think about it.
Oh yeah.
And I just do my comedy. I don't have to worry about it because he's the best. But they were like, let's have you introduced off stage. Like just say your name clean and you come out alone. I'm like, no, Joey's got to bring me up.
Plus your fans will want to see that too.
It's Joey.
That 5 seconds.
Yeah, Joey has to bring me up. That's voodoo.
You're like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you for the suggestion. We're not going to do that. I appreciate your input.
Yeah,
but no.
But they were like, well, let's just try it once. I'm like, no, Joey's got to bring me up. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just Joey's
yeah, like we're not going to talk about it.
It's brought me up in every special for the past
Really?
That's 8,
great.
9 years, whatever it's been.
That's why you couldn't do it in Canada, right?
Yeah, Duncan and I tried to do a chant at the beginning of one of the specials, but it didn't work at all.
So hilarious.
Yeah,
Everyone's like sitting there like, what are they
what
doing?
are they doing?
Why are they doing
We're
this
like, all
thing?
right.
Yeah.
But we were way too baked before we came up with that idea. We thought we could get the whole crowd to ohm along, and we got like maybe 30 people.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, what's happening? What are you doing?
They were waiting for the punchline that never was.
That shit is such a trip. The second show, Joe turned to me and goes, "Do you want to go up and do 5 minutes?" And we just got done smoking a joint, and I was stoned out of my mind. And I like that was I got to go up, and it was pretty cool. But it was so hard to judge that many people.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, 30 people was doing it, and it seemed like that's 30 out of a million.
Oh yeah, it's that many different.
I don't want to say your
people.
material, dude, but that one joke you have is fucking funny. He's got one joke. I can't say anything. It'll give away a bit.
She's got a
But
good joke.
it's one joke that's one of them where I go, damn, I wish I thought that one up. When
good.
you hear somebody say something, it's just like it fires open a door.
It's such a fun one to play with.
Yeah,
There's so much to do with
to
it.
watch over 1,000 people laugh at that was really fun. It's fun to watch someone go up that's never been in front of that big of a crowd.
Never.
But they all were really friendly. Like when you went on stage, they gave you a huge round of applause.
They knew you probably ahead
So
of
that
time.
had to made you feel like they were happy to see you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so much better.
Yeah.
Feeling, it is so much better. The feeling you get when you're like, oh, cool, you guys already know me.
Nobody takes more internet shit than Brian. Nobody takes more. You have more haters and more irrational, angry people.
You love it though, right? A certain part of you.
No,
loves
I
that.
hate it.
No. It's not comfortable. and then there's always some weird sort of analysis of Brian and I's relationship. Look,
people say?
Brian and I are very different,
Okay.
but obviously we like each other.
I've never had a job for more than 10 years.
That's a long
Yeah,
time.
this is a long time. We're working
That's
together.
that's not like.
But we like each other. I mean, we like each other a lot. I would say love, but it sounds gay because he's right next to me. But of course, I love him.
Stop playing footsie.
But the reason why we keep doing this is because it works well. Don't you see? Yeah, he says ridiculous shit. Yeah, he thinks it. But you say also some things that I don't think of. You come at things from a weird perspective sometimes. But for whatever reason, people get angry at shit that it's
Mad.
all you have to do is say one thing. You'll interject one thing, and it'll derail a conversation. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you derail something, and it becomes really funny, and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, who knows? You never know until you try. That's what people don't understand that they're listening. But they'll get so fucking angry at you. And you're like, dude, get up and go out. There's a conversation going on somewhere, and you're listening in. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening here. There's no reason to get fucking spastic, angry, fucking violent mad. Like, relax.
That's just internet angry.
This motherfucker, if he interrupts
Not
one
real.
more time, I'm going to kick him in his cunt.
That's the only way to express, like, ugh. That's all they're trying to express.
so
That's the only way they can do
yeah.
that online. All they
silly.
feel is, ugh. And they
So
have to say
silly.
that. I'm going to kill you.
I appreciate criticism. I really do. And it sounds like I don't because I just get mad and block people when they say cunty things on Twitter
Yeah.
or whatever. But I'm not going to argue with you, man. If you can't communicate with me like a normal human being, if you can't communicate with me like you would, I don't care who I ever met. If I had to have a conversation with Adolf Hitler, okay, if I had to go back in time and have a conversation with Adolf Hitler, I wouldn't start calling him a cunt and say crazy stupid shit to him, even though I know he's a piece of shit.
It's not going to get anything. So where's that going to help you in
It's
life?
not going to help
How's
me
it
at
gonna
all.
help you?
I already know what he is. I want to base all of my interactions with someone on how they interact with me, not how I want to know about their past. I want to know you're dealing with a criminal or whatever the fuck you're dealing with, but you should be as
This is why when Hefron
courteous as possible to someone.
always gets upset when people like write in shitty things. I'm like, Hefron, why do you care? That's just some shitty person. Who cares? That's just a screaming baby.
He gets
Like,
nutty
what are you
about
worried
it.
about?
Yeah, I see people go back and forth and fight with people on Twitter. And I'm like, whoa, really?
Yeah, if someone's like, fuck you, you fucking cunt. You're like, oh.
Dana White goes
Wow.
on. Dana White has like multiple day
Really?
feuds
You
with
can't
Jews.
do that. There's no point. What are
He
you
likes
going to
it.
prove to them
He
that they're
enjoys
wrong?
it.
Has that ever happened in the history of Twitter? Did you
Dana-
prove to someone that they're wrong?
Dana actually enjoys it though.
Really?
He really does. He's
It's
crazy.
from Boston. He still likes to fight. He still needs it.
He enjoys it. He's good at it. He goes to their fucking pictures and makes fun of them.
Specific information.
Looks at their pictures and yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. He gets into it, but he does it all with a big smile on his face. I've watched him do it. He's not like, I mean, obviously Dana White is successful as fuck. He's not really worried about what some twatty 15-year-old kid from the middle of nowhere on Twitter is saying about
I like
him. But
that word,
he thinks it's
twatty.
fun. Twatty is a good word.
Twatty.
It's a sweet word.
And by the way, the people that came to Joe's show, I want you to come to my show May 12th.
Where's your show?
Oh,
Denver.
I'm sorry, Denver. Yeah, the Comedy Works.
Oh,
I'm
well, that's a
taping-
totally different place in the world.
well, the
My
fans.
show was
I mean,
in
your
Atlanta.
fans. Your fans. Your,
Oh,
your
okay.
people came.
Well, that's a shitty segue right there, son. You
Yeah.
should have rethought that.
I realized we just jumped off the subject, and I was like, oh, as we're talking about the special, I'll say that.
Do you think Will Ferrell, when he brings his cats to like a shelter, that he has had many times like they accidentally killed a cat And
What? But Will Ferrell brings his cats to shelters?
like if he goes out of town and he takes
He
it to
brings
a
his cat to a shelter?
No, I mean like if he did, do you think he would constantly have dead cats?
Why?
Why?
Because it'd be like Ferrell, his last name would mix things up, some paperwork or stuff.
Oh, you fucking silly bitch. I just get done defending you and you come with that.
I was just
These are like
I was
notes,
just-
Brian. That's what it is.
I
It's
was
just,
incredibly
these are
disappointed
notes that you
with
should
you.
write down, then revisit later and
I
work on the
was-
wording.
I'm incredibly disappointed
I threw
with
that
you.
in on purpose just because of Ari's throw in.
I'm incredibly disappointed with you, Brian. Set you up nice for the rest of the show. You could have walked away a hero, but no. No, this guy's right now. This motherfucker, I swear, if I find you, Red Band, I'm gonna spit right in your fucking stupid T-shirt. Fuck you, man. You ruined my fucking show, man. I fell off the elliptical.
We got really high this time.
Yeah, we got way too
Yeah,
high.
and this Adderall high thing is totally different.
Yeah, you're on a different
Trenta
thing.
iced coffee on top of that.
Jesus, son, I don't think you're
Why are you
supposed to
doing
mix
those things?
Adderall with
Lose some weight.
caffeine like that.
Losing weight?
No,
It's
I
a weight
just-
loss thing. Is that what you're doing it for?
No, I'm just trying to be focused right now.
Oh.
Yeah, you're so
Shipping
busy, man.
stickers right now is at a third full.
Let me see that pill. I want to see if that's a 40 milligram or not.
That is the craziest. By
There's
the way,
no way
guys,
I've only
maybe
had
you
20
shouldn't be
grams.
passing this shit around in front of a camera. Hey, remember what our friend at Ustream told us?
Well,
We'll show you after this.
I got a prescription for it.
it's just a baggie. All right. show me
Dude,
afterwards.
it could be implied as some sort of. Well, it's made by pharmaceutical companies and it makes people happy. Yeah, I know somebody who has a full-time prescription. He takes it every day.
People who have like severe ADD, they take it to calm them down instead of hype them up.
I don't
You're
feel
getting-
calmed. I feel like
No, you're getting a totally different reaction than they are.
Do you feel? You feel like
That's why
you're-
no medical doctor would prescribe
like
it to you.
I feel like I'm on a coming down from a coke buzz.
When did you take it?
4 hours ago.
You got
3
plenty of
hours
time.
ago?
You got plenty of time.
How long is it
You're not
last?
coming down. Sometimes 9, 10,
Good.
12 hours.
Whoa,
Sweet. I have
Jesus Christ!
2 more podcasts tonight. So that's perfect.
Wow, dude, that's a. Are you sure that it's healthy to
Huh?
take that stuff?
It's not like salad or
No,
kale.
it's drugs. It's totally not healthy. Yeah.
Is it?
But it's just drugs.
Is it dangerous?
No,
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm
Adderall's
sure,
too
I'm sure you
much.
can
Adderall dangerous?
overdose on it if you take too much.
Well-
I took half a pill though. So.
Okay.
Would you quit saying half a pill?
Yeah, but
I just told you that's such a huge difference. You should stop saying that. You should find out how much you're taking. One 5
well,
milligram
it's not
pill.
like it was.
It's the
like
same as
pill
half a
that's
10 milligram
prescribed to a
pill.
horse.
Brian, that might be horse dosage. If you had
There was a
small
4
horse.
written on it. I've never even heard of that.
Brian, you
There
have
was a
the
4 on
strongest
there.
ones available,
It's-
and you took a half.
I've heard of a 10 and a 20.
You
could
you're
take
cracked
half
out right now, son.
Shit, just suck my dick.
Whoa, easy.
Just give me a taste.
What's the
Easy.
come down from Adderall? Is there a way to get?
I think you crush. Like you just.
No, is there anything you can take to in order to come down?
Yeah,
like
more
coffee
Adderall.
more Adderall help you?
Yeah, that's what you do.
Lighter dosage.
Milk, Ari.
At the end of the day, though, my friend who's on it all the time said that sometimes if he has to do something late at night, like a late night show,
Yeah.
it's badly timed, and because he takes his stuff at a certain time every day.
Oh, yeah.
So if there's a late night show, it fucks him up.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm too hyper. If I take one of those 5-hour energies,
No, Nut doesn't get too hyper. He's done. By the time the late night show
Oh.
rolls around, he's over. He's tired.
but he can't take it too late because then he won't be able to sleep that night.
Exactamundo.
Medicated.
Medicated to the gills. We live in a strange world. There
I
was
heard about a new drug.
What is it?
A cop told me in Austin.
Wow.
Crocodile.
Oh, that's a drug from Russia.
Yeah.
It's, a lot of guys that were hooked on heroin are taking it. It makes their skin rot.
It makes your skin rot to where you can see the bone
Yeah.
through your
I
skin.
heard about that.
Have you seen it?
They call it something else like meow meow or something like that. don't
Maybe.
they?
I don't know. It's called crocodile though. With a
Crocodile,
K.
yeah.
It's
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah, horrifying.
And yeah, and they said it takes about 2 years to kill you, so it'll be plenty of time. You can be like, just a little worse, just a little worse.
It must feel amazing.
It must. That's what I asked the cop who told me about it. I was like, how does it feel? Like, awesome, right?
I mean, it's
How
making
would you-
people have like rotten holes in their body where they're shooting it in. I mean, it's really crazy to look at. When you look at the images,
It just rots away your skin. Have we
It's an-
talked about this on this podcast?
no,
before?
we never have.
Who would take this?
I don't know. It's so people are
Anybody who
so
gives it to me.
strange, man.
Hey man, I got this good shit. It makes your skin fall off.
Well, that's not the effect that they want.
They
That's
want to
the
get
stuff they don't
high.
tell you about.
People are so crazy, bro. They're so crazy. It's just such a weird animal. Just the
You also have
fact
to
that-
know how much to take and stuff.
Yeah. Well, how about none? That's the good move.
My friend told me he took mushrooms in Amsterdam and he didn't like them. And I was like, oh, well, how much did you take? Where'd you take them? He goes, I took 20 grams. And I went to I was like, what? Well, that's why. That's like
20
drinking a fucking
grams.
bottle of tequila and saying I don't like booze.
20 grams.
Yeah.
That's
Said it would
insane.
Yes. I'm like, you're
How
never
many
supposed to take
grams
that
is
much.
in a pound?
In a pound? I don't know. An ounce is like, oh, that's different. I don't know.
What?
How many?
How many a pound?
Yeah.
It's what, 2.5 ounces, I think.
2.5 ounces in a pound.
Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I don't know how many grams in a. 20 grams would be about an ounce. Would that be right?
1 pound equals 453 grams.
Okay, so we took 20 grams. Nowhere near a pound.
Yeah, nowhere near it. God,
But still, way
imagine
too
if you
much.
Can you imagine if you ate a pound of mushrooms?
Oh my god.
What
no.
would kill you? What's the?
I wonder.
Let's find out.
You might die from like eating the same thing of any one food.
I think the one time that I took it, where I think I overdosed, it came out to about a quarter and an eighth.
A quarter.
So what is that? A quarter and an eighth. So
1/16, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8.
3/8.
Jesus, you threw me off.
3/8.
Yeah, you took 3/8. Yeah, that's a lot. What kind of mushrooms? Do you remember?
I don't know.
don't
They're
know.
the ones that look like fake, like Mario Brother mushrooms. Like the stems were really big and the caps were like ridiculously fake
Okay.
looking.
280 milligrams per kilogram for a rat. That's
What
it'll
would kill a rat?
Yeah.
200 what?
280 milligrams per kilogram. Like I don't know
Per
how many kilos a rat is.
So how many kilos am I?
Well, the problem with all this
Math
LD50
jokes.
for rats is there's a lot of shit that kills animals that doesn't kill us.
Yes, but there are also a lot of things that kill both rats and us.
And there's also a lot of things that
think way
can't
more things.
kill rats but does kill
Do
us.
kill us?
Yeah, and
Like
there's
living
another
in
way
sewers?
of looking. Well, they're fucking disgusting. These
Eat
cunts.
feces.
They're really disgusting.
Yeah.
They eat each other.
Yeah.
I've told this story before. I killed a big ass rat in my fucking garage in Encino.
Yeah.
I killed it with a trap, and I was late at night. I was like, I heard it snap go off while I was
Get it
writing,
tomorrow?
and I went out. I'll get it tomorrow. I got up in the morning, and there was nothing but skin. A little bit of skin and a tail. They ate that fucking rat.
We had a rat that chewed through his tail in order to get out
Woo!
of a
Jesus.
trap.
Yeah, this rat was a big fucking rat too, man. They had some big hill rats up there. In the Hollywood Hills, they got a real problem.
Yeah, in New York, they're everywhere.
Yeah, some dude was
DC.
Would you rather have mice or rats?
Mice.
mice by a long
Billion
shot.
times.
The one guy that we had on the show, the hoarder guy.
Willard?
What's his face? I can't think of his name right now.
The hoarder
Oh,
guy.
Matt. He said that he would rather have rats.
Why?
he's
I heard him
crazy.
on like Opie and Anthony the other day.
A friend of mine lived in Hollywood Hills, or his friend lived in Hollywood Hills, and they were he had like a dope house with a theater.
Yeah.
But when they were watching the movies, he goes, when the movie comes on, he goes, put your feet up, because sometimes rats run across the floor. And he's like, what? He's
That
like,
would
yeah.
make it a way worse movie.
He goes, if you live in the hills, there's just no way to avoid them. What? Could you imagine there's no way to avoid rats in your fucking house?
It's like ants.
That's crazy, though. It's little
so
animals.
much worse than ants. Wow.
Have you seen nutrias? Have you ever seen
Oh
those
yeah,
things?
those giant rats in the south.
Yeah.
Dave Attell went nutria hunting once. On
Yeah.
one of
That's
the,
how I found out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
me
I found
too.
out about it, too. That
I'm
was
getting informed.
That was that show,
Insomniac.
Insomniac. Well, I was watching some show on the one of those outdoor channels.
Yeah.
Those hunting, and the dude's a chef. I think it's called Dead Meat or something like that. That's the name of the show. And he would go and he'll shoot all kinds of weird things and cook them, like all kinds of weird animals. And so
Yeah.
they cook nutria. They shot these nutrias. But there's a bounty
cook
on
'em.
nutrias. For every nutria you kill, they give you $5.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I bet we'll make a living that way.
Yeah, if you have a 7-inch tail, and they're big, man. There's a lot of them too.
And do they attack people, or they're just super?
No.
calm?
They're vegetarians.
We
And
just kill them.
the problem is they're destroying the wetlands. Their rate of erosion caused by nutrias.
Where
was
do they come from?
Some insane amount. It was like they came from another country.
Oh.
They're like 350 yards or 350 acres a day. They
They're
were
killing?
eroding.
Wow.
Yeah, these animals were eroding. Like an insane amount of ground they can cover in a day. And they're just jacking all these wetlands. And so since they started this bounty on them, the show said that they had dropped it down to 50 acres a day. But they're still
that's
still
good.
fucking things up. I mean, it's like with
The acres is a lot to lose in
every
one
day.
day.
Every
Yeah.
day they're just jacking these fucking all these wetlands. They just kill all the vegetation. All these swampy, crazy areas. They just kill all the vegetation. They're huge. The fucking thing was like a dog, man. And this dude, they went out and they shot him in like an hour's time. They shot like 6 or 7 of them, and they throw them in the boat, and then they took them back and cooked them. It was really weird, man. It was funny how everybody was like repulsed by it. Like everybody that they told that it was a nutria, they're like, "Ooh." But if you tell someone you got a pig, like, what is it? Oh, it's bacon. It's like we came up with cool names for shit that's not the animal itself, like beef. Beef is cow. You know, venison. Venison is a deer. You know what I mean? They would have to come. You can't just say you're going to eat rat.
You can say I'm going to eat chicken.
Yeah, chicken. That's true. Chicken is only chicken.
Yeah.
But like pork is like bacon. It's ham. You could have
pork.
Yeah, you could have a couple different names for it.
Yeah. Bacon's so fucking good.
It's so good.
Why is it so good?
Have you been to Denny's when they have that bacon shit?
Oh yeah.
The fat and the crispy meat. It's just so delicious.
Bacon milkshakes.
Yeah, it's so delicious that, I mean, this has been talked to death by comedians, but the idea of it's become sort of almost like a hacky joke. Yeah, put bacon on any kind of food and it makes it better.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Chocolate and bacon's good. Have you ever had that together?
That's okay. I had it at a fair once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I've
okay.
had
You
that.
put a little salt on it.
You know what's amazing, man? Salted caramel.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that shit's good.
I had some ice cream like that
That's
in
a
Austin.
weird, yeah, salted caramel ice cream.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I know what you're talking about. There's a place in Denver too. I forget the name of it, but they have amazing salted caramel ice cream.
Sounds amazing.
And Denver is where Ari Shaffir is going to be next week, recording this fucking powerful. See, that's a segue, son. That's how you.
Here's the deal. I just want to say I'm there the 10th through the 12th of May, but I want the cool people, like all these people listening, all you guys.
He wants us. So, and by the way, the Comedy Works, you owe it to yourself. If you're going to see a comic like Ari, go to the best club in the fucking country. And the Comedy Works in Denver might just be that club. If it's not the best club, guess what? There's no better. There's no better club than the Comedy Works in Denver. There's no better club in the planet. There's just not. There's the clubs that are just as good, but there's no better club.
It's on any list of like these are the clubs I like to play before I stop.
The Comedy Works in Denver it's at the level of the best club in the country. I don't think there's any one best club in the country because there's like Helium in Philly. That's the same level. It's the same level. There's nothing bad about that club. It's perfect. It's one of the best clubs in the country. And in my opinion, like Helium in Philly and the Comedy Works in Denver, they're the same level of club. I think that place is as good as it gets. It's the cream of the crop as far as comedy clubs go. And
so good. It's
Denver is the stoniest, coolest fucking city in the country. I love Denver,
when
man.
are you coming back to Columbus?
I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna book that.
there?
I'm gonna book that. I'm booking a bunch of shit now that I have to write a bunch of new stuff. So when I come to Columbus, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably do the comedy club for a couple days.
Yeah, the Funny Bone's a good club there, but isn't it weird how that place doesn't have a green room? It's like,
yeah,
they
whatever.
really need to.
I kind of like it. I like when you're roughing it.
Going back to the kitchen to like
I like
chair.
when you have to live like that sometimes. It's realistic. It's good. It's good for you when you have to be in the hallway warming up and there's fucking people walking by with drinks. It seems stupid, but I think all that stuff, you should never get away from that. That's a real comedy club, man. That's where we all cut our teeth. That's what's responsible for a lot of guys making a living. Those kind of clubs. Those are real places.
You know that
it's not a bad energy. When you're there for 2 or 3 hours, though, it is nice to have a place to put your stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? Just go out and sit with the people at the bar. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Just go hang out with people.
That patio is so big, though, that he should just put a shed out there or an Airstream. What if you pulled up in one of those trailers?
An Airstream trailer.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
But they need the patio because people can't smoke in the bars, right?
Oh yeah,
isn't that the
you
new
gotta go
law?
outside to smoke?
Isn't that the laws now?
Right.
Yeah,
right. So you have to go outside to smoke. Yeah, that's that law apparently is a big divider among the pool world. Pool players are really upset.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of guys, first of all, when they're gambling, they would just constantly be smoking.
Poker had the same problem.
Yeah.
They try to get it out. There was the last link to the leave casinos was the poker area.
Yeah, I know. For that breath that I just took, that was like a lot of guys. They needed that. They needed that. They needed that cigarette to calm them down while they're gambling.
I don't think they needed it. I think they just got used to it.
I know they do.
They're resisting change.
But they're addicted.
Yeah.
And when they're addicted, you need it. You know, I've seen a lot of guys who just got really pissed off and they would start going to places that would allow smoking.
Yeah, because some guys would let you chain smoke. So it's like, it's not like going outside. I can't just keep going outside. I just want to keep going.
The only way they can make that different is if you made it a private club. Like I belong to a cigar club.
Yeah.
It's a very halty schmaltzy, me and my brother Matt. And when we go, we can go and smoke cigars with all these people like out in this place. They have gourmet food, and we act like assholes.
Oh, that's nice.
Look like big wigs, you know, like you're some sort of a deal maker. I'm a deal breaker up here, you know.
Sell it 17.
And it's kind of a crazy place because it's the girls are all really pretty and they're like scantily clad and they serve excellent food. And there's all these rich guys out there. You always see them like movie stars and shit. But it's a club, you know, and you're allowed to smoke cigars at this club. They should make a place where, you know,
why don't they have hot rooms like this?
What's that?
Why don't they have hot rooms?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Where?
What's that one?
That one shut
the
down because
comedy.
they got scared.
In Toronto.
Oh no, in Toronto, yeah.
Oh, the one that here got shut
On
down.
Melrose.
in
On Melrose, they
California,
shut
they
it down. The back room.
Why? They got scared?
Yeah, because
They're gonna go
when the
to jail.
shutdowns were starting, they were like, we don't want to take any chances. Because people don't know how much they're allowed to get away with, so they're just guessing.
They're
When the
gonna go
shutdown times, they're like, let's stop. It was a hash bar. It was so great.
Yeah.
It was
It was a
awesome.
full hash bar. People go there to write.
That guy came up to me a couple times when we were doing Sal's, and he asked me to do shows there, and I was like, "You're going to jail."
Really?
I'm like, this
Why?
is
If everyone's in there with a card, why
doesn't
shouldn't you go out and
matter.
smoke there
because
in the back?
there's the possibility always of federal
Right.
intervention if the DEA is in town because they're going to start cutting down.
But it was
some
there
of the
anyway, even if
pharmacies.
they just have a regular pot room.
That was a
It already
hard room.
Yeah, but not that
was a
way.
hard room.
But that's where people are going to be getting high, actually physically getting high, and a lot of them, I guarantee you, are not going to be legal. There's going to be a lot of sneaky hippies that, oh man, I didn't have the money to renew my card, man. What's the hassle? It should totally be legal anyway, man. Nature gave me my license.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few of those fuckers they're gonna arrest them. If you could be there doing a show while that goes down, you might go to jail too.
Every time I want to wait when your card has ever got renewed, let's say it ends May 1st, you're like, I'll just buy a bunch of weed April 29th, and that'll last me till like June 30th. But then you're like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to buy too much for the fucking $45 it costs?
It is beautiful that you could just go to a store and buy it.
Yeah, it really is.
I said that I don't think that's going to go away now, just because of the fact that it's
We're
such
too
a
used to it. We're
big-
revolt now.
Yeah, it has a big impact on the economy. It's just the rest of the country really doesn't know that kind of freedom yet. They don't know how easy it is to live like this. You know, they
Feels so
like
great.
it's great. And people who think there's anything wrong with it, you're being silly.
It's drugs. It's drugs. Like, that's not a good enough answer. So is alcohol.
So is Adderall.
So is Adderall.
So is Adderall.
So is this coffee I'm drinking. This is a drug.
My
This shit
feeling is like, yeah, so it's a drug.
So is this
what?
Nuba ring I have in my butthole.
Do drugs.
Yeah, so what?
Do drugs all you want. What's the difference?
These people are scared, Ari Shaffir. They're goddamn scared. They're scared of the void.
Cigarettes have addictive nicotine in them. And you shouldn't say, like, well, just because they're doing something wrong, you should be allowed to. But, like,
We are going to
So I
have
guess
to,
that's the answer.
I was going to write this thing. I wrote this whole thing about this Trayvon Martin thing.
yeah.
When that kid got shot and there was all these people that were rallying one way or another.
My problem is nobody really knows what happened. So then it's like,
exactly. No one does know what happened. But my feeling was like, man, when are we going to evolve past the point where that's even a concern?
oh, yeah, exactly.
When are we going to evolve past the point where people are breaking into people's houses and stealing shit? When are we going to evolve past the point where people are starting shit with people because they're packing a gun? Is there ever going to come a time when that's the past? We're not hacking each other with swords in the streets every day, everywhere you live anymore. Everything is getting radically improved. Security and safety radically improved. Every city,
We're
all over the
animals here.
world.
We're animals here.
Yeah, but
You know
I mean,
what they said? What they said they were in lines after the tsunami, and the Japanese people were in lines
Yeah.
waiting to get their food. And
Yeah.
someone said, "It's so nice that you wait in lines here, and and it's so orderly." And he was like, "Well, that's the only way it should be."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And it's just, we've become such animals that we think that's great.
well, we are a country without much history or tradition. You know, we have a sort of a fake history and tradition. We
yeah.
make a big deal out of our history. You know, I'm American. I know my history. You know, what history? A bunch of marauders.
The one that your great grandfather started.
Escapees from
Yeah.
other countries that fucking came over here and tortured and killed all the natives.
Yeah,
and
or you came
fucked them
later.
over and- or you came
I'm
later.
proud of my history. You're white trash.
Yeah.
That's not a history.
It's silly when you stop and think about, like, say, the history of China or the history of Japan, one country that's been in one place for thousands of years. I mean, there's a true history to Japan, and there's a history of obedience, and there's a history of order and discipline, and the tradition of it is far stronger than it is in this country. That's a fact. Brian and I saw it when we went over there, and I'm not saying that Japan is.
Tradition.
If I had to choose between living in Japan and living in America,
America.
that'd be
Jamiroquai.
great.
If I had to
Everybody
choose
reggae
between
all the
living in
time.
Japan or living with Jamiroquai, I would say I'm
You
going to
would
live in Japan
You
because
would
I
live
would
in
kill
Japan.
that dude.
Yeah.
I would
You
wind
wouldn't
up
want.
strangling him.
You wouldn't want to have him as a roommate.
Apparently he gets crazy. I love his music though. Don't get me wrong, but apparently he gets
Jamiroquai.
crazy and throws punches at people and shit. But Japan was so much more polite and orderly, and even like when we were at they didn't understand us. So when we were at the arena, once we got in and I showed them that I had a badge, they would like talk about, hey, and I'd go, nah, he's with me. And they're like, oh. They just let you go.
just say,
They
okay.
just let
People
you go.
don't lie, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that at some
it's
point
not-
where you're like, look, obviously you can lie to me if you want,
Right.
but please don't do that. I'll just check.
Yeah, there's a noticeable, and I'm not saying it's a perfect society or utopia or anything like that, but there's a noticeable leap up in patience and a noticeable leap up in kindness in the way people interacted with people. It was really interesting.
That's what happens when you have unfettered access to rapeable Chinese women.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I fucking love
They just
Japan.
calm down.
They just calm down. They go rape the inland and then go back and it'd be calm.
I want to go back to Japan soon. I think me and Brad from
Fascinating place,
Ustream
right?
are gonna go.
Are you really going to go on a little vacation?
I'm thinking.
You and
about
who? Some guy you met online?
Yeah, they're going to get
That's cool.
sexy.
Brad from Ustream has an office there, so he goes all the time. So
That's
I'm thinking
cool.
next time he goes, I might just go with him and just to hang out.
Wow. Yeah, well, I found it quite fascinating. I mean, I've been
go to
to
another
several
country, of
different
course.
countries now, and it really does illuminate you. You know, Ari and I went to
does.
Brazil recently, and we were sitting, it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. We may or may not have just smoked some weed, and we're sitting on this balcony overlooking this beach, and it's
The sun was
beautiful.
coming up.
The sun's coming up, and we were watching all these kids play soccer, and we were like, who does this in America?
Yeah.
At 7 a.m. Who does
They all
this?
just ran out there and started playing soccer and the barefoot crossing the street.
Yeah.
Then these other kids got home from like going out, but it was like
They look like they're having a
7
great
a.m.
time.
Yeah, they're still out with their holding their shoes.
I don't think
Everyone's just out.
I don't think Brazil is better than America or America is better than Brazil, but I know that way of living is
Yeah.
better than the way that most people here live.
I heard a quote recently. I think it was Mark Twain, but Johnny Pemberton told me. He goes, "It was comparison is a death of joy."
Wow.
It's like, who cares about better or worse? I'll just tell you what the nice things we
Yeah,
saw.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know in Japan that the government pays your electricity? They pay a lot of things that like.
I wonder if that's going to change now that their power plants are fucking melting into the earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
if they just started charging for it and they could have a better profit to make sure this doesn't happen in the future. I wonder if that's even a.
Oh, I don't-
Make more profit
I don't
from
know
it. What do
if
you
they
mean?
can-
What would that do?
They're fucked, Brian. They have a real problem with those 3 reactors.
How
And
would the
maybe
problem have solved
possibly
it?
a 4th.
How would the profits have solved the meltdown?
Well, because obviously it seems like their shit was built like retarded style, you know, like if they had like some more like intelligent people going, wait a second, you should not build it so it only goes to a 6 point or 7.0 magnitude quake.
No,
or
they
something.
had it up to an 8.2, I
Eight-
believe.
8.2.
But it was even larger than that. It was like a 9.
Why don't you make that shit 20? You know?
Well, I don't think they can.
Yeah, at some
the
point you
real
can't.
the reality
You're
is
right. He's like, just go deeper.
Yeah, just
I
super
mean,
deep.
didn't we just talk about this the other day? This is my take on the craziness of nuclear power. Was that it's only been around for less than 100 years. And think about in 100 years, all the different huge cataclysmic disasters, from Chernobyl to 3 Mile Island to this one in Fukushima. This is 3 giant, huge ones that have taken place, and it's only been in less than 100 years. How long is nuclear power? Thank you, sir. How long is nuclear powerful C2O coconut water? My
Fucking-
favorite. It's delicious.
It's so
it comes
delicious,
from
I love
Thailand.
it. You can't beat it.
It tastes so good. You think that it's got sugar in it. And I even asked them, I go, you got sugar in this shit, bitch?
They sell it on
And they
Amazon.
said,
you
no.
look
Set it up.
There's no
Internet
sugar.
today.
Yeah.
That's your ad-free ads.
Where were we before we went on the coconut room?
The nuclear.
Yeah, the real issue is they don't know how to shut these fucking things off, and that's terrifying. It's terrifying that they're willing to build something that they don't have an out clause with. They were just hoping to keep the power on so they can keep it cooled off. They should have never.
Germany
been
wants
made.
to be without nuclear power in
So does Sweden.
20, 40 years.
Yeah, I think Norway has moved towards that as well. There's been a couple of European countries that are considering this now. They realize, first of all, they're very small. You know, a lot of European countries think about the impact of 1 nuclear power plant or 2 would have had on them.
Yeah.
And Japan is very small, and they're seeing the impact of the radiation pretty far.
Isn't there some kind of this is another O'Brien dumb shit thing, but isn't there some kind of
So think it through.
So wait, yeah,
Think it through.
yeah,
Evolve
take
this.
another
Wait,
chance.
isn't there some kind
Evolve
of
this.
metal that they can almost just coat
Cover
the whole
it.
entire reactor like that
It's
shit
too hot.
like pewter? You remember
It's
this little
too
pewter
hot.
toys?
Everything's going to melt in it. Everything's going to melt.
but
It's a
it would
goddamn
probably
nuclear reactor.
help.
I don't understand nuclear science enough to comment on it, but from what I understand, they literally can't cool this thing off. And they don't know what to do. And they're pouring ocean water on it to try to cool off the reactors. They've eaten through their containment. They don't know where it's going to go as far as like how much it's going to impact the soil. They've never really had one melt down like this before, let alone 3 melt down in one area in Japan. They've never had this. So they got to learn from what happened in Chernobyl. I don't know if Chernobyl's damage was as bad as this one is, but
We can learn from it.
It's pretty fucking significant. And the scary thing, again, is that there's several of these things all over the place. I shouldn't say several. There's hundreds of them all over the world. And if these reactors keep fucking up different spots of the world, we're going to have giant areas of our world that's contaminated and dead for hundreds of thousands of years. And that's the reality that we're operating under and living under right now. While you and I are sitting here talking on this laptop, and our information is being passed through the internet, there's lights that are on, and and you're going to get in your car and you're going to go, and electricity is going to fucking power that gas meter when you pump gas at the gas station, and there's going to be an electron. All that shit is nuclear power, son. All that shit is built on the back of insanity. Our entire civilization runs on an insane idea that we're going to take and we're going to make a nuclear reaction. We're going to make a fucking reactor, and we're going to use this insanely hot thing to burn water and create steam. And the steam is going to power and make electricity. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy. And it's how the whole country works. The whole country is essentially almost primarily on coal and nuclear power. So it's either giant fires or it's, some people have windmill. There's a few places that have like windmill fields, and that
then
like
dams,
generates.
right?
Yeah, dams can generate some electricity, but there's a lot of it that's nuclear. A lot.
Have you ever been to that windmill fields that's like right outside of Los Angeles, going up, like when we went to Joshua Tree?
The grapevine.
At night, just thousands of these red dots. Like I had no idea what it was, and I'm just driving going, what the fuck was that? Holy shit, what is this?
We've done a few fear factors
scary.
out there.
Oh yeah, it's cool. And those fan things are so slim that you're like, what? How does this do anything?
Yeah, I
It's
wonder.
so small.
And again, steel cable fucking everywhere.
Wait, Brian, how does your brain work? Where we were on a conversation about nuclear power and stuff, and you asked about the safety of nuclear power. How would that be an O'Brien moment? You were completely staying on topic and not making
No,
it
because I was talking about pouring metal on top of a whole factory.
About locking it down in a big metal box.
Like, those little toys you used to buy when you were a kid, like those little pewter toys. Like whatever that is, if you poured like 1 billion gallons of that.
pewter.
Right
Well, I
over
think
top
the real issue is they can't cool it down.
Ever?
And it's going to take forever to cool it down.
How does other nuclear plants cool down?
Well, they have
use
power.
the nuclear power to cool it down.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what's going on in a nuclear power plant is keeping it stable and making sure that there's not what's called a meltdown. And I don't understand it enough to be just talking in vague terms.
Yeah.
But what happened with Fukushima was the earthquake and tsunami and flooding and everything fucked up their backup generator. So they had nothing. They had nothing to keep it powered. So they had essentially 8 hours before there was a meltdown. Oof. So there's 8 hours where they could just evacuate the area.
Have the cancer
and run.
started yet?
I don't know, but I'm sure. I mean, there's
soon.
bunnies that have been born with no ears. There's weird mutants that are starting to
yeah,
appear in the
fish.
animal world.
You see the fish things?
Dude, just hanging out with me.
Fish
and
are born
Joe,
with
you probably
non-working
have-
eyes.
Oh Jesus!
What?
Just hanging out with me and Joe, you probably have whatever we have now.
Yeah, we went to Japan.
I
We're-
got it for
we're
me
fucking zombies.
like Fantastic Four.
I was gonna not eat the sushi over there, but it looked so delicious. I was like, whatever, let's let it ride.
Yeah, that lasted a half hour. I think we were talking about how we weren't going to eat anything.
People are
and-
dying over there. All right, I'll just have 12.
It's just
I'll
the
just have
sushi
25
looked
of them.
great, and everybody looked healthy.
That's not how cancer has no look.
We were just talking. You and I were about Mad Cow. They just found another episode of
In
Mad
SoCal.
Cow. Yeah.
Then they said the only reason they found it is because they random testing.
Jesus
didn't
Christ.
have the symptoms at all.
It was an irritable.
Yeah, no, but they said they act a certain way.
Dude, it's so scary. They're feeding cows. Mad cow disease comes from them taking cows and then butchering them and then grinding up their brain matter and all sorts
Whatever's
of other
left
shit
over.
and using it for a
Chicken
protein
nuggets.
base that they feed to other cows.
And mix it in with the grains.
Ugh, and cows aren't supposed to eat cows, by the way.
And so why are they doing this? Really just to save money?
Yes, exactly, to save money because it makes for a effective feed. You can force the cows to eat that shit and they will eat it and stay alive and they get all fat and fucked up. And they get essentially what's called Jacob's Creutzfeld's disease, which is the same disease that savages and cannibals in New Guinea get.
Or they get the shakes?
They get this terrible neurological disorder from eating human brain.
Because you're programmed to not supposed to eat that.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a fucking trick by nature to make sure the cannibals don't survive.
But if a lion ate human brain, he'd be fine.
No problem. Unless the lion ate a human who had Jacob's Creutzfeldt disease.
And then he
'Cause
would get that?
He could get it because he could get it from what are called prions. And that's the concern with people eating beef that came from England during a certain period of time. time when the mad cow disease was running rampant. The idea is that you could have possibly gotten this Jacob's Creutzfeldt
Had
disease.
people started showing symptoms of that ever?
Some
Or is
people
that-
have, yeah, sure.
Oh,
People have
wow, so
died
they
from
got
mad
it.
cow disease. It's
And then
no joke.
The Prime Minister of England was trying to say, remember that? He was trying to say it's safe now, so he fed a burger to his daughter on
Jesus
TV. This is how safe I think it is. Eat this burger.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy. That's Game of Thrones type shit. Crazy asshole. It's it's amazing that they're so greedy and stinky and disgusting that they've actually decided that there's a good way to save money. Feed cows. It's just a cunty decision. Just the worst decision. When any company that makes that decision, the government should come in like stormtroopers and close their fucking shop down and or make it a socialist place. They should take over and feed the cows only grass.
Burger King's going to
That's how bad I feel about it.
to Safe Chickens and something else in like next by 2017.
Safe chickens?
No, not safe. Like free range.
Free range chickens?
That's awesome.
So it's
Yeah.
going to be more expensive, but
Maybe. Or
See,
maybe
the
they're just like, fuck it, we'll
definitions-
lose a little more money. We won't make as much.
definitions of free range I bet are pretty sloppy. I
Yeah.
bet free range is that they're not in cages, they're in a giant pit.
That's probably what it is. Where it just moves. It looks like it's moving.
yeah, that's free range.
By the way,
Look
have
at
you ever
them,
gone to
they're
Diaz's
free.
house and looked through the screen door? The cats move all at once sometimes.
Yeah.
It just looks like the floor is moving. It looks like they're migrating.
Dude, Diaz is living in a
Wow.
crazy environment.
They rock like birds.
Yeah, it's like 12. It's like a bunch of them.
Does he have 12 now?
I think it's something like that. I think it's
You
12.
know, I have an idea because I need to get rid of one of my cats because it just
you just
doesn't,
dumped him over
over?
Diaz's house?
doesn't work well with my dog, and the other cat hates it too. So it's just miserable. So I want to find like an old lady to give it to. But I was thinking about just like taking it over to his house and just kind of like throwing it into the mix.
Why don't you pawn it off on one of your ex-girlfriends? They've pawned off dogs and cats on you.
Yeah, I should.
No, that's an old cat. What about...
That's what grandmothers are for. But unfortunately, all my grandmothers are dead. But I used to always give them my cats.
Here's what you got to do. Take a dictionary and
That's
just
what they're for.
slam that skull.
Giving you their cats.
Like
That's so
old
fucked up.
people need animals.
Yeah,
Well,
companionship, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think companionship is fucking for sure.
So if anyone in Los Angeles is old and needs a companion,
Take your old cat.
if you're hot,
Shitty
first
old
call
cat.
me and then I'll see.
How much longer is that cat going to live? You hope it dies, right?
I think it's like 6 more years. I would say.
Do you come up going, how you doing? No, you're not.
What?
Do you ever hope he dies?
I don't hope any animal dies, but it
Sort of.
is.
You wouldn't be upset.
It is a miserable cat right now, and I feel really shitty for even trying to give it a happy life right now.
yeah.
Why is it so miserable? Because you got a second cat?
Because I have a second cat and a dog, and both of them
Fuck with it.
Those two love each other, and they're like a gang, and they're just like fuck this other cat, you know,
Yeah.
And the other cat's the original one.
original one. And it's like damn, bitch.
You've created a gang war in your own house.
Yeah.
You got bullies in your own house.
Yeah, it really
Meanwhile,
is.
you're supposed to get rid of the other two. You're supposed to get rid of the cat and the dog.
Yeah, but they pay me
Keep
off.
the original.
They pay
The
you
OG.
off?
They pay me off.
Really?
And what? Kisses and attention?
Yeah.
Yeah. You need that now.
One
more than
eats
ever.
my poop, so he never poops in the
Don't-
house
I
because he
was
just eats it right away,
about
so I don't have to
tell
clean
you,
it up.
Don't ask him, because it's going to be something like this. I'm
Right.
going to tell you.
He picks up after himself. He shits and then eats it back up. I never
Does
have
he
to
really?
clean
I
his
was gonna
poop up.
say.
Does he really?
Yeah.
No, he
It's
does
great.
not.
So disgusting.
Yeah, but he
bet
never
he does.
clean poop up off the floor. It's just like
Are you
endless
kidding?
cycle.
Are you joking around right now? I hope you are.
No, I'm not.
You leave that thing in and it doesn't have, it can't shit, so it just shits on the ground and
No,
then eats its own
it
shit.
uses a poop pad.
And it eats its own shit?
Huh?
And it eats its own shit?
It loves its own shit.
Stop it.
It's a
No, it
human
doesn't.
shitipede of a dog.
It does not eat its a lot, like all of
wanna-
it, or just lick at it.
you wanna
wait?
bet?
Is it just lick at it, or is it all of it?
Every time I come down, it looks like he ate a nice cookie. There's little crumbs of his own poop
Oh,
everywhere.
dude. How is that not incredibly disgusting to you?
Because
Hold on, maybe he's just shitting out of his mouth. And you're not looking.
I put Listerine strips in his mouth, and
No, you don't.
I
right, now
I
you're
have this
just
dog.
being a jerk
I have
off.
this dog spray stuff for dog breaths.
Ari, save this conversation, please.
Are you gonna do Shroomfest this year?
If I can.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I have to find out where I am, what part of the world.
Yeah.
If I do, the
I made it
problem is,
Mondays just for comedians.
when I block out an amount of time like that, it's very selfish because I'm a father. You know, I can smoke pot and be functional, but I have to be real particular about like where I do shrooms.
Oh yeah. It's like a trip. It's
what
like
I mean?
it's got to make it work.
I tell you, the last time I did it, man, I was convinced I'm never going to do this shit ever again. I'm
Have
like,
you
you know
already
what?
done it?
Well, I've done it, since I was a young person, and then I stopped for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then I always thought in that 7-year time, I'm like, you know what? I've done everything I needed to do at that. That's stupid now. I need, but then I started dating younger girls, and then I had to re-go through all their drug experiences, and now I'm like back into how I was when I was 21 again.
Well, I think it's all about the intent. Like, what are you trying to accomplish out of using it?
Right.
Are you trying to find something out about yourself? Are you trying to have like a spiritual journey that you
Have a
go
better
on?
concert.
Yeah, or are you just trying to play and party and get fucked up and say, oh, I can't believe what I took. Whoa, I took so much. Because I think a lot of times when you do that and you don't go into a trip, like you could take a mushroom trip for granted. And a mushroom trip can kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, they can be just fun too, though.
Sure.
You can't
Yeah, if
just
you're in a
go
good
and
state.
go to like a concert
Sure.
or go do something where it's like,
It depends
this
on
is like fun.
the quantity.
Disneyland.
Food,
Yeah.
Depends on
how
the
much
quantity.
food you ate.
Food, how much food you ate, the quantity,
Yeah.
who you're with, where your state of mind is.
You want to be with people you like.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can get away with doing mushrooms, but when you do big doses like you did a giant dose.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
firmly believe that you
That was
should
the last time?
be prepared for a fucking journey through space when you do that. I mean, you should be someone who's been going to yoga class.
Well,
you should be
I don't
someone
even
who can
think
sit down.
I think that's an overdose amount. Like, well, like there is such thing as overdose amount, meaning
well, we
your
just
body.
went over that with
yeah.
the rats.
Right.
There's
Well, the body immediately rejects any of it, even the small amount. That's when an overdose. It's like your body's like, no, get this out of me.
An
then
overdose?
You're reacting to that stuff, to that
well,
poison.
the thing about mushrooms is it's not poison. What's going to jack you is it's like saying salt is poison. Salt isn't poison, but if you eat a pound of it, you're fucking dead.
It's thorn.
Yeah, mushrooms are the active psychoactive ingredients in mushrooms. It mimics human neurochemistry. That's why it's so powerful. What mushrooms is like what psilocybin is. I don't know how to say it exactly, but it's something like 4-phosphoryloxy NN dimethyltryptamine. And NN dimethyltryptamine is actually made by the human brain. So it's dimethyltryptamine plus something else. And it's some weird phosphorus something or another molecule attached to it somehow or another that makes it different. But whatever it is, it's so close to human neurochemistry. It's not really a poison. It's just some weird fucking side venture that you can take your mind on.
Wow.
So the danger is only in like spectacular doses. To actually worry about poisoning yourself.
If you take 3 grams, you're fine.
Yeah, you could take a lot. I mean, I know I've
Yeah,
heard
you're
many
talking about
people that
50
took
grams.
5 and 10 grams. I've heard 10
yeah.
grams from many different people, and they are fine. I mean, they're scared as fuck. And when they come out of it, I mean, they shot through the middle of the fucking rabbit hole and came back with Robert Louis Cat. What was the guy's
That's about
name?
what
who
you
did-
took, Brian. 10 grams.
10 grams.
It's about 10 grams. Yeah. Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yeah,
Looking Glass.
Yeah, is he the one who wrote Alice in Wonderland?
Let's
Is
just
it
go
Robert
with
Louis
it. Let's just
Stevenson?
go with it, because
Doesn't
otherwise.
seem like Lewis Carroll though, isn't it?
Yeah, Lewis Carroll.
Lewis
That's
Carroll.
who it is.
Lewis Carroll.
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Multiply that times a million.
Battleship?
I mean, all that stuff was all psychedelic inspired. I'm sure all of his. I mean, wasn't it supposed to be about acid?
It's supposed to be about that.
Yeah, you could take enough mushrooms, you could fucking lose your mind for sure.
But that's
but
a
to
super,
die-
super high.
Yeah.
No one
My
who's
legs
listening to
didn't
this
work.
is going to take that much.
My legs did not work. I fell to the
My
ground.
legs don't work, he thought, as he's walking down the street.
My legs didn't work.
No, I mean, like I fell to the ground and I could not stand up. Like
Wow.
it
That's
was-
not a good example
That's
for the
awesome.
youth of America.
No, and I don't think that's anything that people should try unless they do
That
a
was 10
shitload
grams?
of
That
research
was
and
10
make sure they're
grams?
safe and
That was 10
be of
grams?
age. What's that?
That was 10 grams. That was that.
That was
took
when I
3/8.
took a quarter and an eighth, whatever that
Yeah,
is.
3/8.
Kids in America.
Whoa.
We're the kids in America.
Whoa.
Everybody live for the music around.
Na, na, na. Na, 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 na.
The youth of America, they deserve better than that, Brian. I
I'll,
think you're a leader at this point. I think you need to step up.
I'll have it on here.
Don't do it.
Stop having your legs fall apart, son.
Don't do it.
How many grams do you think you did when you had this spectacular trip?
10.
quarter and eighth?
That's what it comes out to. 10 to 11.
10 to 11 grams?
10 to 11 grams.
That's crazy. What was the most memorable part of it?
My hand turning into pyramids, gold pyramids.
Wow.
And,
Nice.
when I puked, it was all colors and it turned into trees.
Whoa.
And then it like felt like there was trees going in my mouth and stuff. And then the
Trees going
walls-
into your mouth.
The
Wow.
walls were made like out of Legos and they were just falling down and
Wow.
it was fucking crazy. Shit.
And now,
That's sick.
what thoughts did you have while all this was going on?
Olive Garden.
I ate too
butthole.
much. I was poisoned. Why aren't my legs working? I'm puking.
Were you paranoid?
Here's what I tell people.
I wasn't really paranoid. It was more like I've never had my legs never work. I've never had body, like I've shroomed 100 times plus, and I've never had it where like my body wouldn't work.
So you were just so bonkered out that you literally couldn't figure out how to use things.
I guess so.
Were you laughing?
I mean, I recorded myself and I talked like I was fine,
Wow.
and I felt like I knew what was going on, but it was more of like I felt like a poisoned.
What's like the best thing you ever learned from a trip? What have you ever come out of a trip and had like, this is like a real solid revelation?
I always have revelations every single time. Like the last one I did, which was I did in a shitty hotel room, and I did a whole podcast with the other girl I did it with, and it's on Death Squad. But
What is it called? How do people find it?
It's just go there and type in. It's on the front page of deathsquad.tv, and it's like
Right, but for now, people might be listening to this 100 years from now.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you in a sec while I'm telling.
I doubt it, but hopefully they found something cooler than iPhones,
Right.
or iPods.
Go to Death Squad.
but I did it with my-
What's her name? What's her name?
I did it with my friend Pamela Walt and Amy Hawthorne, and we just went to this really shitty hotel in a really scary place,
What's the name of it?
Motel 6.
Motel? No, I mean the podcast.
Yeah, that's
itself.
what I'm looking
That
at.
I would advise against, by the way.
It's-
going to a place that's like a shitty environment.
Death Squad number 18. So that's
And who are the people on it?
It's just me and Pamela Walt just did we did our, because it was her first time doing mushrooms, and she just got over having cancer in her crotch, and she's homeless. She goes from couch to couch.
Whoa.
She just has had so much. Most of her life, she had such bad social anxiety that she would never even talk to anyone. And then recently, she started getting better with the help of actually Adderall, believe it or not.
Whoa.
So now she's actually being able to function and talk to people, which is something that it's like being reborn as an adult.
So did she like the mushroom trip?
She had the most fabulous, wonderful time. She found all these things, and it was just the most ideal thing ever. It's
amazing.
In
Yeah.
a shitty situation.
It's amazing how the same stuff, the same batch of the same drug. It's not like you got a bad batch. Just some people have a good trip, and every once in a while somebody has a bad trip.
I think a lot of it is what's going on in your head. 'Cause
Yeah, if
there's
you're
been
with people-
points in times in my life where I was teetering on a bad state of mind.
Well, but if you listen to the thing, there was a reason I was forced into this bad situation, because I went from being like, all right, we might get shot at this hotel. This hotel is actually a place that you go to do drugs and get hookers. Like there's people living there, and we explained this whole thing in detail.
Right.
So I ate it, and then immediately started realizing, like, wait a second.
Oh yeah.
We don't want to be here for 6 hours trapped in this room. I need to be a babysitter because this might be really bad.
That's some like Fear and Loathing in the middle of the desert type shit.
Yeah.
That's funny. You should
Yeah,
write
you
about
can't be
that.
worried. You can't be worried.
Dude, you should
about having to
totally
keep
write
calm
about
things.
that, and that should be part of your act on stage.
Yeah.
That's actually
I
kinda
need to
funny.
figure it out.
That's a funny idea for a bit, dude.
Right.
About getting fucked up on mushrooms in the wrong hotel.
Yeah,
Or crimes
and
going on.
it was bad because like every time I wanted to go have a cigarette, I had to go outside. And one time there was like this black dude that was like running really fast. Then he hid behind a wall. And he looked out and he looked right at me. And I'm like, oh shit, I saw him. And then he started running as fast as he can. Like he was absolutely hiding from
What
somebody.
neighborhood was this?
It was in this weird place in Ventura. It was really bad.
Maybe he was on mushrooms too.
Maybe, but I would go out and have a cigarette, and I started like I had this cell phone case that had all these little diamonds on it, kind of like these little gem
Bedazzled?
cells, bedazzled. And so I started like leaving
thought they
them
were-
everywhere I would walk, just so I would have
Have a way
proof
to go back?
if they have to find me. There was like I was doing breadcrumbs.
Your mind can definitely wander on a bad situation where it makes it seem way worse while you're on mushrooms.
Right. And then there was a fire alarm outside of our door, and I'm like, that's the emergency thing. If anything happens, if we get robbed or something, I'm pulling that. That's how scary this hotel was. But I made myself puke, but it was too late.
I would think it would be so funny if you grabbed that and pulled it and it's silence.
I
Clink,
know. It just falls off, and there's drugs in
clang,
it.
clang.
Puking happens
Nothing.
sometimes, but you got to do that within the first 30 minutes. For it to do
I
anything.
tried to, and it was the only time I've
You're
never.
already tripping out 30 minutes in that hard?
I hadn't eaten the whole day or the night before. I actually had my finger down my throat and never have done that successfully in my whole entire life, and made myself puke it up.
I gotta pee.
And I started tripping. Right
How long into this was that?
About 30 minutes.
Wait, why'd you start? If you just started tripping afterwards, why'd you make yourself throw up?
No, it was happening while I was puking. I
All
started
that
tripping.
stuff where you started feeling like terrible and stuff was happening before, like as you started.
No, this
tripping?
is a different. This is my latest trip when I tripped
Yeah.
in a hotel room. After I ate, I started noticing like how bad this hotel was. Like we opened up the sheets and there was like like fucking mess shit in there, and there was like a stain that was on each side of the sheets.
Oh yeah, it was a gross hotel.
And yeah, and then there was
gross.
just people outside that were like, it was scary. Like the cops came at one point and busted up this huge.
Cops
gang.
aren't good to see when you're on mushrooms, even though they can't tell, they don't know anything. You're still like, ugh, cops. This means weird. This makes it bad things.
When Pam was checking into the hotel, somebody crashed through the office in their car.
Why'd you go there?
I didn't go there. I met them there, and then I ran up to the room thinking, "Oh, this is cool." And then right after I ate, because I was trying to catch up, because they were already.
Wait, somebody crashed through the window with their car?
When they checked in, somebody crashed their car into the office.
So like the wall was broken open, like a.
Yeah.
And you're like, Dom, okay, here's my credit card information. This should
Sounds
be secure.
great.
I didn't do it, but yeah, it was a shroom of hell. But while she was having the same exact opposite, so it's interesting. We just talked for like 2 hours about.
You can let yourself get in a bad place. My friend took it once with a guy he's barely knew and a girl he sort of liked, and it was just one of the worst trips for him because he said it was like he was worried about his behavior in front of certain people, and that worrying puts you in a bad position.
Yeah, that's one of the things about ecstasy that's so cool. You could do it with anybody.
Oh yeah, you just feel like you like everybody.
Yeah, released everything.
I still think that's the best drug in the whole entire world. If I had to
Ecstasy?
choose
Yeah.
one drug
Yeah,
other
man.
than weed,
Yeah, it's the like I said, I love the experience, but the come down was fucking brutal.
On
It
ecstasy?
it was brutal. I took 2 pills. I don't know what the milligrams were, but yeah,
damn.
Two's a lot.
yeah. The next day I was wrecked.
Yeah,
Those are all sort of the same milligrams, right? They're just different.
I
right?
seen a
But it's
guy.
like one
I saw
pill.
a guy take 9.
Oh my god.
9.
I don't know.
Yeah, those are the same people that like a long time
You get
ago when
full
people
off
used to
it?
do acid and they'd be like, "Dude, I just did 12 hits of acid." I'm like, "Why? Why
What
would
are
you
you
do
doing?
that?"
Well, there's certain dudes like James Cameron that want to go to the bottom of the ocean.
See, this guy wants to just go.
God,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
So some dudes just want to go to the bottom.
I saw one of the UFCs when I was on ecstasy, and some pop pills or something, and it was when Clay Guida was fighting, and I got so fucking into it. I was
Is that
so
the one where you?
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like on the floor
Dude, this is
pounding it.
hilarious. We figured this out later, like years later. We went to a UFC once, and he was so emotional and like screaming
sitting
and
next to
on the
Clay's mom.
floor. And then he told me just like a couple months ago, he goes, "Oh yeah, I never told you this, but I was on whatever you just said."
Ecstasy and pop pills.
The best
Makes
Ari
sense now.
best Ari UFC moment is documented. It's when what the fuck is his name? It was in Brazil.
Oh,
the last
yeah.
one in Brazil.
Oh God, it was so
When
great.
Terry Edom got wheel kicked in the head by Edson Barbosa. Edson Barbosa cracked him with this wheel kick, and as he's going down, you and Joe Silva are right there, and you like put your hands on your head like, holy shit!
Yeah,
Because
I think I put my hand over my mouth, like, oh no,
Yeah.
like that's so brutal.
Ari was like right over my right shoulder, like where I'm sitting, like right at the cage, and Ari's right behind me. So if you look at like the animated GIFs that are
Yeah.
online, you can see Ari pop up.
There's a super slow motion one I saw that was like really cool, just it happening super slow mo. And
Yeah.
I'm up before he hits the ground.
I don't care what anybody says. That is, I mean,
that was
that
amazing.
is the greatest job I have ever figured out how to. I don't know how the fuck I ever got a job working for the UFC, but that is the greatest job ever. To
That
be able
crowd
to be
was
there,
so crazy.
yeah, nuts. Brazil was insane. To be able to be there, right there, ringside.
Yeah.
And I've seen like more than 1,000 great fights like that. It's really incredible. You know, and then for you in Brazil, you were right there with me on the stage. 18,000 people fucking screaming.
Yeah.
You've never seen a crowd like a Brazilian crowd, man. Anybody who thinks that American crowds are loyal or nationalistic,
Yeah,
you don't know what the
We just scream
fuck
USA
you're
when
talking
some guy
about.
trains in England.
Yeah,
We scream USA to the other one.
yeah, we scream USA, but that's about it. In Brazil, they scream, "You're gonna die."
You're gonna die.
They all chant, "You're gonna die." And then when Mike Pyle won his fight against this Brazilian dude,
Only non-Brazilian to win.
yeah, against Funch, and when he won, the fucking whole crowd is calling him a fag. The
Yeah,
whole
in
crowd.
Portuguese.
It's they're
We kept having to turn to the translator. Like, what are they saying?
Yeah.
What are they saying right now?
Well, she thought they were saying a different word. It turns out she thought they were saying Cigano, which is Junior Dos Santos' nickname. But they were saying like it's like Fegano or something along
is like
those lines,
faggot.
which is faggot.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen aren't going to be fighting in Brazil. There was apparently we were going to do it at the giant soccer stadium. It was going to be 80,000 people, but there was a UN meeting that was going on there the 2 days before, so there would have been no hotel rooms. It would have been a nightmare because you'd have to bring in 80,000 people from other parts of Brazil and the world
Yeah.
who would want to come in and fly in to see that fight. So It was way too nutty, so they had decided to move it to another place.
That would have been because it's the biggest fight available. It's just the biggest fight, and it would be in the biggest city.
Yeah,
it would just be like, oh. God.
I think as far as what I've read is that they're still going to do a fight in Brazil that week, but they're locking down where that's going to be and who's going to be on that card.
Yeah,
but the
I'm sure it'll still really good.
The Anderson Silva Chael Sonnen match is going to be in Vegas.
Okay.
Which probably for Chael Sonnen is fucking way better, man.
Yeah.
That guy was in danger.
In danger. I don't know. That place was so goddamn beautiful, Brazil.
It's amazing. What Ari and I were saying is we were up at 7 o'clock in the morning watching these kids play. Yeah. And we were like, look how great this life is. Like, why don't kids in America do this? Why isn't everybody running around and playing like this? Like, this is like, they were so, it looked so joyful. There was so much fun to it. And you knew that they probably were poor.
Isn't that what like America used to be? Or at least is it still like in the Midwest and stuff where just small towns where you just get up and go play with people?
I don't know,
in the park?
man. What makes a place like Brazil? Is it just the environment? The environment's so beautiful. The weather's so beautiful. They're on the ocean. Dwelling people almost always have like a certain appreciation and respect for the ocean. Almost like a little appreciation for nature. That's why beach towns are always so calm. You know, there's like almost like a chilled, relaxed thing. It's like, man, you're just faced with something so impossible. You're looking out at fucking 100 trillion gallons of water, whatever the fuck the ocean is, where it's never ending. You don't see the end of the water. It goes on. You know, it's bigger than the entire continent that you're living on. And it's just, it's so humbling. It's just one of those things that you look at it, it makes you chill out.
A lot of AA people, when you have to have a higher power, they like make you have a higher power, but some people don't want to say God, so you can say it's like the ocean, just something more powerful than you are.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. That sounds like a Led Zeppelin song, too. Joey
Diaz still number one on iTunes.
He's number one again. Yeah. Doug Benson dethroned him for a little bit.
For a day and then just back and forth.
Well, Doug Benson is not a comedy album. It's just a podcast. You know, he puts his podcasts up for sale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a lot of guys do that. There's a lot of controversy about that. Some guys have like one a month that they'll have for sale.
Yeah, if it's a big giant thing, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, so he's back there. Joey Diaz is on my podcast this week.
Really?
On the Skeptic Tank. Yeah.
Wait.
Joey Diaz.
Still having fun with it?
Yeah, I am. I like it.
Doing one a week?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll get a couple in a week or 2 or 3 in a week if I'm going to be out of town a lot.
I'm amazed that you do it.
Yeah, me too. If we do anything like that consistently, I'm really amazed.
Well, how about us? What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I'm amazed we're doing it too. What episode is this? 211 or something like that?
211, I think.
It's crazy.
And it's so you could at any point you could just be like, I'm not going to do it anymore, and it'll just be done. There'll be no trouble.
Yeah, it would be a problem.
You're not
man.
get fired.
I think at this point in time we have a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we would be able to stop.
Yeah, I think it's impossible.
There's too many people.
But I'm saying like nothing's really pushing you on. There's nothing real there. It's just
we owe
desire
people.
To keep doing it.
We owe people.
For listening.
They've made our life better because they like this podcast, and I think we owe them that.
People go to so many more comedy shows.
We're not going to stop,
dude. I think it's in general, not just with this podcast, but in general, it started this renaissance of stand-up comedy.
Yes, I think
I go around the country and it's like, and I see the clubs, the like hometown club. It's just more people are out. Yeah, people have access to this art form they've never had before.
And there's no more good guys.
Yeah, and with YouTube, it's like you can just find who your aesthetically pleasing person is.
Yeah. You know, Max, Dice's kid, went up at the Ice House the other night, did great on the podcast, and went up and killed at the comedy show. And I'm like, I can't see enough of that. I can't see enough of like this new generation coming up and they're good. I can't see enough of that.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. It's beautiful. And podcasts are allowing these kids to sort of get their stage. I'm telling you, man, that's one of the reasons why the Atlanta show went so well. I'm so used to talking in front of people.
That's got to be a lot of it too.
I wrote down that podcasting is like cross training for stand up.
It's like
it
training.
Really is.
It's like not full joke, but just training, thinking of stuff.
Yeah. It's like it gets you in shape for stand up.
Yeah, I could never have gone up on that. Just doing that, whatever quick set. If it wasn't for a podcast, I would have said "fuck you" and like shit myself.
You know, Eddie Bravo is going to do some dates with us. He's going to MC some shows.
Nice.
Eddie Bravo wants to go on stage. He wants to MC. He wants to bring people up.
Just say let's get it all started.
He goes, I might try to do a joke or two here and there. I'm like, you can do it. I'm like, of course you can do it. Anyone can.
But even if he doesn't want to, just like you guys ready?
He wants to. Encourage him on Twitter, folks.
That'd be awesome.
Because he can do it. Eddie Bravo is one of the funniest dudes I've ever met.
I used to bring him up.
It's all about, for him, it would just be about focusing. It would just be about him finding, whatever it is that he thinks is funny and focusing. See, I know you're just scratching your beard, but it looks like you're totally shaking your head when you do that.
Oh, no. No, that was me.
But I just want to straighten that out with all the internet detective. Brian has got an itch on his face, but you don't see that because the microphone ball's in the face. So it totally looked like you were shaking your head.
My beard is just crazy itchy. That was definitely an itch. Sorry.
I just started going back to jiu-jitsu again. I took 3 months off.
Did you bulk up? Did you get fat?
No, I didn't do anything. I stayed the same weight. I kept training. I made sure I kept working out. I stayed in shape. I stayed in like kettlebell shape and weightlifting shape and workout shape.
But that's less than jiu-jitsu shape.
It's not good as jiu-jitsu shape.
What's
Jiu-jitsu
cardio
shape is harder.
Wow.
I found myself struggling for the first couple of classes, but not nearly as much as I would be if I didn't do anything. If I didn't do anything, I wouldn't be able to do it. I literally wouldn't. Because one of the things that I thought about while I was working out, while I took the time off, was when I was training, I was training to go back and roll.
Yeah.
Like I knew I did not want to get
purpose.
tired. Yeah, I did not want to get tired. I was doing a lot of sprints. I was doing a lot of, especially on elliptical, I'd do these things where just purely for cardio purposes, I would do maybe 10 to 15 minutes as a warm-up at a normal, reasonable pace. And then I would set it fairly stiff, like level 13 or maybe
like
15.
2-3 minutes?
And then I would blitzkrieg for 30 seconds, just as hard as I can do it for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then kick it back and recover for 30 seconds and then do it again. And I did it for 20 minutes. So essentially 20 sprints, 20 mad, crazy sprints.
When I lost all that weight, that's what I used to do on the elliptical. I would go as hard as I could for a minute and then do like 3 minutes of just kind of sitting there with my heart rate really high up. And then
it's so hard, man. It's such a great workout. I mean, like when someone tells you you can't get a good workout on an elliptical machine, like, bitch, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I go when I'm in hotel rooms, if I'm staying in a hotel and they say, oh, all they have is an elliptical machine, I can get a fucking ferocious cardio workout in on an elliptical machine.
Yeah.
You just got to use it the right way.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is you don't get injured on those. You're not going to hurt your knees.
Really?
Or hurt, it's no impact. It's all circular motions.
I had an MRI
Elliptical
today.
machines are. You did too?
Yeah.
So did Eddie Bravo.
Really?
Yeah, Eddie's got
nice.
some sort of a meniscus thing.
Yeah.
MRI.
What happened to you?
I think he said cartilage this time.
Cartilage.
Yeah, my other knee.
Your other knee. Are you playing basketball still?
Mm-hmm. No, now I'm not. I can't.
Dude, those body weight squats that I know I showed those to you. Those are like literally miracle workers for strengthening and tightening your knees.
Yeah.
One of the best exercises I've ever had for leg endurance and for building up the muscles around
it's probably
the knees.
endurance. I just standing up.
Yeah.
I took my shoes off after basketball and I stood up and I just felt a pop and then fluid.
Well, can they fix it? What'd they say?
He's got to see exactly what it is first. It's that same doctor did the other one. He's really
Heidelman?
good. No, that's the pot doctor.
Oh, whoops. Oh, Gettleman.
Yeah. I know my doctors are my doctors.
Yeah, he's a real doctor. Yeah, he worked on my knee 2 times. He fixed my right knee and he fixed the meniscus in my left knee. He fixed my left knee when everybody else had fucked it up, or the other guy had fucked it up. The other guy, he did want to scope it, and he tried to stitch it up, and it just never really healed. It was always loose.
It's amazing how when you think about it, you think like doctors know what they're doing, but like some doctors are bad.
You need doctors that work with athletes. That's what you need. Because one of the things that happened after I got an MRI when I tore my meniscus, which is a really simple thing. Meniscus is not that big of a deal. I tore
just
meniscus,
scrape it out.
they can
Let's scrape
scope
the
it.
rest over.
But the doctor sitting there telling me I need to stop doing martial arts. By the way, I was only 30 at the time, and the doctor's telling me you need to stop doing martial arts, and I'm listening to her. And I'm going, first of all, why are you telling me? I'm not asking you for this. And I go, I don't see where this is like that big of an issue. And she's like, you're going to continue to injure this knee. And are you telling me that it's impossible to rehabilitate a meniscus tear and get my body to a condition where I can train again? I call shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because you're
You say
not,
you'd rather not have that, but like what?
Bitch, what are you talking about? I've been stitched up together like 15 fucking times. I know what I'm doing.
Sometimes
I'm
I
gonna
just don't want to
stitched
deal
up.
with it. It's like, stop
Well,
it.
no, it was
wanna
some
help you through
weird. She was
something.
being my mom.
Do you think it's going to catch up like say 30 years from now?
No, I have no pain, man. See, first of all, I make sure I stretch out like crazy. Okay. Second of all, I eat a lot of fish oil. I take like 10,000 milligrams of fish oil a day. I think that alone promotes like healthy, strong joints. And second of all, stretching and doing all these body weight exercises really important for strengthening up the joints and tightening it. Those body weight squats, you go all the way down. Your ass touches your heel, and your heel comes off the ground, and you push up from there. And when you do like hundreds hundreds of those. Right at the knee is where you build all your muscle, like all up in here, like the cap of the quads, and all around your knee. All that builds up because it's like a really high volume. You know, you're doing like 200 of them, and it really tightens and strengthens everything. It gives you more endurance, and it also, because the fact that your legs have done so much more work and they're stronger, you're less likely to have them buckle on you. They're less likely to give out.
It won't be all
on
cartilage. It'll be the other muscle taking control.
Exactly. That's a lot of the reasons why people get injured is because they don't have enough physical strength to stop the injury from taking place. Their body, you know, they're the coordination, or they're exhausted.
Or old people fall, they break their muscles because there's no fucking. No,
Exactly.
they don't break, but they broke their bones because there's no muscles to guard against it.
That too. Well, also their bones get really fragile. That's one of the things. Osteoporosis. They if you're not lifting weights or taking care of your body in that way, where you're adding, you know, it's really important, especially as you get older, to actually physically lift weights if you want to keep your bone density.
Really, bone.
Yeah, your bone density. Yeah, it's very important. There's old dudes, like, you can go to the gym, and there was a guy named Albert Beckles.
Yeah.
And I believe he was in his late 50s or 60s. Brian, Google that guy for me, please. Albert Beckles. And Albert Beckles, bodybuilder. And he was really old, man. And I went to the gym. There was a Gold's Gym in North Hollywood when I lived in North Hollywood. And I used to see him training there.
Like Charles Atlas? He'd just be in there?
He was old as fuck, dude. And he was so old, like a motherfucker. Look out the photos of that guy.
I mean, he's got a really nice asshole.
What was that other guy's name? That old trainer.
Look at this photo of this guy. See if you can get a nice big one.
That's him? He's black? That guy?
Yeah. Dude, right there, he's probably like fucking 60 years old or something crazy. Yeah.
God.
And I'm not kidding. The guy was fucking enormous. Just don't a picture of his bicep. That's his bicep. Just click on one picture so Ari can get a. There's a good picture of him. He's bald and old and shit, and just swole. Look at the body on that guy. It's ridiculous.
Fuck.
That's the only way you can do that. Well, steroids. But the other way is you have to lift weights in order to keep that density up at that age.
That keeps your bones dense?
Yes.
Not your muscles.
Your bones. Wow. Weightlifting, especially like real heavy weight bearing exercises like deadlifts and squats, they contribute to thicker bone density.
Wow. Yeah,
it's really important as you get older, especially because that's when your bones start to get brittle and fragile. So guys like Albert Beckles, I bet that guy's like, look at that guy's body. And he's in his 50s there, dude. I mean, he was just an animal. There's certain dudes like that. Yeah. By the way, steroids, but also intense workouts and intense training and focus. You can't just give it all the steroids there, because the guy still had to do the work.
Half the steroids.
If he just took steroids only, he would still never get that big. Those guys have to
If he just lifted weights, how good would he get?
He would never be that lean either. I mean, you have to be incredibly dedicated to get down to that level. I mean, he's like championship bodybuilder level. Yeah. But the difference between a guy like them or a guy like, say, Steve Maxwell. Steve Maxwell is a guy who's 100% natural, and he's a fitness fanatic. And I believe he's about 60 years old.
Is that Dr. Steve?
No, that's Steve Graham. Oh. Steve Maxwell is the guy who teaches me kettlebells and comes
Steve
over
Graham?
like a couple times a year, and he will go
over
exercise
on body issues.
He comes and trains me for like 3 days and shows me all sorts of new shit, and I film it on my my iPhone. He's a master, dude. He's Steve Maxwell. You could follow him on Twitter. I don't know. I think it's Maxwell Strength and Conditioning, Maxwell S&C. Maxwell SC maybe, but he's a real master when it comes to training and different things that you can do to keep your body healthy as you get young. Like, he has a whole series, a DVD series, all on joint mobility and how important it is to stretch.
Really?
Like, as you get older, your range of motion, especially if you're not, like, if you're just sitting in an office, your range of motion is going to get more and more limited because you're not doing shit. Your body's not going anywhere. You're just sitting there all day.
So you're less able to use it. Those yoga guys that can stretch like crazy, they always like shock me.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And it's right between their legs.
It's because they keep doing it. It's because, I mean, most of the reasons why I'm still flexible at this age is because when I was 15 to the time I was 44, I never stopped stretching. Yeah. You just keep doing it. If you keep doing it, you can keep it up. But if you take off just like a few months, you take off just a few months of training and don't work out and don't do shit for a few months, your body will turn to a sack of shit like that.
Do you feel that when you stop, or you just kept training, you kept working out?
Dude, I've never stopped. Even when I get injured, I'll stop doing certain things. Like, I've been in places where they say you can't do any working out. Like, after I got my nose fixed, I couldn't do anything for a full month.
Because they said no.
Yeah, they don't want you. elevating your temperature or your blood pressure rather, and possibly opening up some of the sutures or any. So no exercise at all for 4 weeks. So for 4 weeks, I was like, fuck.
Would you just eat pizza and commit to it?
No, I just tried to eat healthy, but I couldn't do shit in hopes that I didn't want this operation to be fucked up because I was without a nose to breathe out of for most of my life, and I knew how terrible it was. But then once I did it, I was like, I was in a race to get back in shape. Terrified to stay, because as you get older, man, the more you get out of shape,
real easily too, and you just stay there.
Yeah, you could just become a lazy fuck. What?
You got to do this festival next year.
Which festival?
Moon Tower, the Austin one.
Did you just get back from that?
Yeah.
What was it? Everybody's got a festival, man.
Yeah.
Did they pay
bunch
you?
of good ones.
Or did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a Death Squad festival.
We should.
Death Squad
We're
festival.
gonna have music like Honey Honey. Ask them if they want to come. Maybe have some ever.
Where should we do this?
I think fucking Joshua Tree.
Really? But
No,
then
who's
people have
gonna
to
go out
drive there.
No. In a city.
Yeah. Why do they have to go somewhere?
Vegas.
Vegas isn't a bad idea. Vegas is not a bad idea.
San
People
Francisco.
can come
But
there.
Vegas again costs money, man. You got to fly in and shit.
Texas.
Just do it for locals.
Do it to Austin, Texas.
Austin,
some-
Texas might not be a bad idea.
Somewhere where it's warm. That's all.
Yeah.
Austin, Texas is in the middle too, so a lot of people can fucking drive there or fly there a lot easier. And it's
Well, if we were going to have it, we would want to have it at a place where there would be enough hotel rooms. Because
Yeah.
how many people are going to come? Let's say if we have if
New
we
York?
do a comedy show there, maybe
at
New York.
Southwest
New
by
York
New York or
is
Southwest.
Chicago. What about Chicago?
New York's so expensive.
yes, look at Southwest by Southwest. We do it in the same area. All those hotels. You know.
Austin, right? That's South by Southwest. Yeah, maybe we could do it 6 months after when South by Southwest is there, so we don't compete with them at all.
I'll
And
be
have
there in
an
September.
Austin Death Squad Festival. When is South by Southwest?
A month ago.
month ago.
A month ago.
Yeah.
So it's what, April?
What are you worried about competing with South by Southwest? They barely
Well,
have any
anybody.
comedy. Oh, right.
They first of all, you can't do it anywhere near them because first of all, they're way more established. They're going to eat up all the hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
can't
if you
start
really
doing that
wanted
week.
to do, but then you would have to like organize it, man, and then you'd have to pay the bands. Like if you have bands performing,
You get a
you'd have to
tour
pay the
manager.
comics.
You get a tour
Oh,
manager.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you got to hire a tour manager.
We'd have to figure out who would be. I mean, if we're going to have a Death Squad comedy festival, we'd have to be really picky about who we let go on stage too.
Yeah.
You know, if they're
Well,
going
they'd
to
have
Not if
different
it's
shows,
3
right?
days.
If
they're
it's
going to
different shows.
represent us.
Now, if it's 3 days, we just use
Yeah.
all the same guys we always use. But we have like 30 people that we use all the time and just in different rotations and stuff. We made it a big festival and people got to plan for it. They would want to do this. You know, it'd be a
30
party for
people.
us.
We don't have 30 people that are good enough to represent us.
Oh hell yeah! If you start grabbing telling hey, to these Steve Renazizis and all these Freddie Lockharts and be like, hey, do you want to come?
30 though? I don't think it's 30.
I'm sure it is.
Magical.
What do you think?
Bill Burr. I mean, who are you talking about?
We're talking
Yeah.
about like Lil Esther. You know, we're talking about all the guys. And then you might even find that if it's a big enough thing that there's just people that want to hang out for a weekend, like a party style. And so you might get maybe Greg Fitzsimmons would be like, hey, I want to come to this, and shit like that.
Maybe he would want to get paid, and as he should.
Absolutely, we'll make
Comedy
it. We'll make
festival,
it
you-
like a festival.
But then
Like,
what? You had different shows, so they'd see different people twice?
Yeah, I guess they would have to if they went to different shows. It'd have to be some people on certain shows, and we'd
Yeah.
have to. God, it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
but it'd be kind of fun. Maybe it's something we could think of. You know, I mean, look, if the fucking Insane Clown Posse can pull something like that off,
Exactly.
we could pull it
We
off.
could have Death Squad shows at a comedy festival.
You know, the best way to do it really would be to make it super simple and start it off simple and as easy as possible. Try it out 1 year and then let it build. You know, then the next year move it to Vegas.
Moon Tower was the
Maybe we
first
try
year.
it in Pasadena 1 year. Maybe we try it this year in Pasadena.
Oh, that's what you do. You do
Yeah.
it here.
Yeah.
When you don't have to pay for hotels for almost any comic.
Yeah. How about that? How about we
Just have it
do
here.
Ice House, continual Ice House shows, and we'll have bands go up and perform at the Ice House. We'll have 2 shows going on at the same time at the Ice House, and just take over the club for a whole week, and have all of our friends come in,
Promote it so hard.
promote the fuck out of it, have all of our friends come in that we, all of our friends from out of town that we know that are great comics that maybe live in
Plan
Texas.
to
or-
be here.
Yeah, plan to be here. I'll bring in Stanhope and pay for him, and put him up in a hotel and give him the door, 100% of the door, and pump the show up and set it up so it's both profitable for guys to be, and it looks like it's fun. And the
Yeah.
whole time we podcast.
Yeah, whatever
the
they pay at
whole
the door,
time.
just
so
we'll take that.
we want to have two things set up. One,
Promise to
we
take
want to
that.
have set up something so in the podcast room at the Ice House we can see the stage.
Yeah.
That's step one. Step two is we're going to broadcast the podcast to all the people waiting in line. So while the people are waiting in line, as they're
that's
going in,
smart.
we'll be doing the podcast with speakers outside in that little courtyard area.
Yeah.
So that will be going on, and then we'll have shows. We'll have bands that can go up.
At Lovett's, they made the bar room of Lovett's.
Mm-hmm.
They should pull down a screen. They show what's going on that big screen on stage.
That's not a bad
They
idea.
show the podcast. You can drink and just do
What
that.
bar area? Where would you do that? Outside?
Yeah,
At the
outside.
Comedy
They could do
Store?
it there. No, not the
Yeah, at
comedy store.
the the Ice House. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could do it outside in that little patio area. Yeah,
so everybody would go to smoke anyway.
sure. Why not put a big screen up there? Right?
Dude, it almost
feed it
makes
in
you
from
want to
TV.
know if like you could talk to like the
Or-
people that own that whole property, because that whole building that is owned by the same person that owns like that parking lot that's right connected to it. And if we were to like close that off and then make it like, you know, different stage
Outside in the park. Do that in the summer.
stages
Do that in
and,
the summer. Broadcast the podcast to the parking lot and just pull up your own chairs.
You need certain permits to do that
Yeah.
though, because you could disturb other businesses and you'll disturb
Right.
the
You
neighborhood.
would have to have permission with all those businesses.
I don't
that's
think
right
you
there.
could do that. I think you know that. First of all,
they
that's
have
a
movies in the park. They do
tentative
those.
license. Yeah, but that's a movie, and it's in a park. This isn't
Yeah.
a
Oh,
park.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a parking lot, and it's right next to people's businesses. They would hear it for sure. If Honey's out there jamming,
Oh yeah.
people are gonna.
Oh
hear
yeah.
that.
You can't have like a live band.
There's a festival that's in Columbus, Ohio. That's the whole weekend called ComFest. And what it is, it's community festival where everybody in the community gets together and volunteers time making a festival. So like a lot of my friends would like sit there and be, you know, the people that sell beer for a whole
beautiful.
day, and they just do it for free. And it's just there's 4 different stages, and it's just music and poetry, and there's girls walking around naked, and it's just people go there with tents and like pretty much just hang out at this park the whole weekend. And I was just like, imagine if it was something like that, where because like your fan base is so like that kind of like, you know, outdoorsy mushrooms, nature kind of, you know, they like music and Jimi Hendrix and
Well, we could eventually do it someplace like that, someplace cool. But we'd have to make sure that there's enough accommodations for all the people that were invited to come down.
Right.
You know, it would be tricky. And we would also have to make sure that we could safely get all the artists there and put them up in places. That's why starting it off in Pasadena would be super easy, because everyone's local. We could have all the local guys go up, and people that want to come here, they can come here. It's easy to get to Pasadena. You can come here from all over the country.
we
You
could
know, it's
set up
fair-
a tent at ComFest this year.
What's ComFest?
That festival I was just telling you about.
Yeah,
we
I
could
don't
have
know.
a comedy tent.
I don't think we need to bring in people like that. I think we advertise to our own people. We advertise to everybody who follows me on Twitter and everybody who follows me on Facebook.
Yeah, you give it
everybody
like, but you
who
give it
listens
like
to the
8 months to a
podcast.
year lead up time.
Yeah, yeah.
Say like this is the week you're gonna want to make your hotel reservations
Yeah.
for,
Dude, we could do that now and get thousands of people to come from all over the country. I have no
and
problem
just a bunch of shows throughout the week.
believing that. Yeah.
2 shows a night, pretty much to save
Yeah.
the Ice House, or if you do it in a couple locations, the Ice House and somewhere else.
The Ice House is a great place because it's close to LAX.
Yeah.
People can get there. They can get rental cars. They can stay. It's not a far drive. You got a navigation system. It's not hard to swing. You know, it's totally feasible, and we have the best relationship with that club. You know, as far as clubs around, and there's 2
Yeah.
rooms there, so we could have 2 rooms running simultaneously and just keep doing shows. We could do like 2 and 3 shows a night. Like we could have an early show.
Yeah.
And, you know, we could have a bunch of different shit going on.
Or have a music side
Yeah.
stage and
We
a
just
comedy
have to have
stage.
mad security for nutty people. So many nutty people have been showing up at the Ice House lately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I had a girl start
crazy.
screaming out she loves me during my show in La Jolla.
Did you just run up and shove it in her mouth?
Oh, I thought.
How
of
much
it.
do you love me, bitch? Why don't you suck on my
She
dick?
wouldn't let me talk. It was crazy, and I was like, "What's wrong with you? You need to be quiet."
So what happened after the show? Did you hang out with her?
No, I told her she had to leave eventually. I was like, "I understand." She was weird. She was on something.
Yeah, she was on I Love Ari. I want some Jew dick.
That's right.
What's up?
She was there by herself.
Well, how did
Strange.
it end?
I told her she had to leave.
Oh,
It's
she
you
was
were
there by
disrupting Too many
herself.
people.
There by themselves.
I was like, "I'm really sorry, but you have to go."
Good sign of crazy. Not always. A lot
Yeah.
of people come by themselves that are very nice, but occasionally it's a sign of crazy.
Sometimes, yeah, going anywhere by yourself. It's like, what are you going to be up to right now?
Not always, you know. Could mean you're cool. I've met some really cool people that came to shows by themselves. Nothing wrong with it. It's not like a hard, fast rule.
Rogue Fest?
But if you meet a girl, though,
Yeah.
and she comes to a show by herself, that girl's a freak. Almost 90%.
That means she's like, "No, I'm just here by myself, just hanging
Yeah,
out,
just
no
say
responsibility."
hi to Ari Shaffir and say, what's up? So we would have to call this the Death Squad Festival or something like that.
Death Fest.
Death Fest.
Yeah, we'd have to figure out what to call it. Like the Insane Clown Posse, they call their shit the Gathering of the Juggalos.
We would not call it the Gathering of the Juggalos.
No, we couldn't call it that. They already have that.
Oh yeah, damn it! That would be so good in order to get people to come out.
But Death Squad is going to give people the wrong impression.
Oh yeah, it is.
Maybe we need to come up with a name for the festival, like a yearly name.
Just call it Olive Garden.
Maybe the Happy Primate Festival.
Comedy
Maybe.
festival.
Happy Primate Comedy Festival, but it's not quite a comedy festival.
There's
We just
no
want to have
primates.
bands too.
Oh, and what would you get? Just
There's no
venues for the bands.
primates? How about
So you get like
primates too?
you would get like some music club in Pasadena to show those shows.
No, we would do those at the Ice House too.
Put a.
That would be easy to put up. Like if Honey they could play at the Ice House. Easy. I'm sure they've had bands play in that place.
You gotta have the drums off the stage.
Yeah. There's not much room. Yeah. I don't know how they would do that. How much room is there? Do you think there's room for a drum set?
No, not on the stage.
Yeah, there
Absolutely
is.
not. No way.
No?
No, absolutely not. They would take up the entire stage. Would be
They don't
just
have
a
to
drum
use
set.
drums though. There's some of their best things they do is just him and her, him playing guitar and her playing banjo.
Acoustic-
and
they can
violin.
do a acoustic set.
Yeah, that's better anyway, man. The acoustic shit they did on my podcast was brilliant.
Yeah,
They're-
do like 15 or 20 minutes at the end, or 30 minutes or 40
Because
minutes.
she is not like she has a real voice, man. That chick has a real voice. Like that's a legitimate voice. It's not like she doesn't need any effects or any fakery. She really can sing.
I would do a storyteller show. Get Kreischer and Diaz to do it.
Yeah, we could do
Don't
that
give me-
too.
and
Sure.
some
Yeah, that
different
could be a
people.
part of it. Absolutely. That's a good idea. Yeah,
Do you want different themes or different
Sure.
situations for like that?
Yeah, and you know what? We should also
How about a show where just let's ask topics?
That's exactly what I was
You
about
know?
to say. Question and answer. We should do a entire show. Like we did a little bit of it at the end of the show in Atlanta, but it was
Yeah.
more like mocking people for their stupid questions and more moon landing hoax conspiracy talk.
People,
One
I want to
guy-
hear it from his own mouth.
This guy goes, "Well, I do know that we went to the moon." I'm like, "It's you don't know. Stop it."
I love just saying that. Well, I do know. Like you just saying it loud and
I'm
sure of
pretty sure
yourself.
we went. What does that mean, silly? 1969. You know what happened.
No matter what the argument, well, I just know.
Yeah.
So you're just saying you're just done talking then.
No one knows. I mean, we can kind of assume most likely that happened. I'm pretty sure Kennedy got shot in the head. I'm 99% positive, but I wouldn't even say I'm 100% positive of that.
Who knows?
What the fuck knows this goddamn dark world we live
People
in?
take that argument too far sometimes. They're like, well, how do you even know there was a Kennedy?
Yeah, how do
You're
you
like,
even know that
all
this
right.
world is real?
All
How
right.
do we not know that you are not living in a computer simulation? By the way, I thought that was really hilarious. I saw a video of you explaining to people how to download the Bone Zone, and you did it as a handicapped person.
As a handicapped person?
No,
explaining
it's
to them?
because I.
So many people don't know how to do it.
One Brendan Walsh was complaining that people were having a hard time finding his
Yeah,
podcast.
It's pretty much I showed Brendan how to do it, and he made a big deal about it on another podcast. And it's like, oh, come on, here, let me do it real slow again for you.
To show people how to
Download.
just that.
Yeah.
Or just
Well, I think he wants it to be under his name. Is that what it is?
No, he's just like, people say that they can't search Bone Zone and it comes up on iTunes. And so I was like, well, let me show you how to do it.
wait, but you can't show the people. It's the people searching. That's who you have to convince, not Brendan.
How many people that are in your little network get upset that you have the network as the name of their show and then their show next instead of the way everybody else has
I
it?
think out of, let's say, if there was 100,000 people, I think I hear it maybe 2 times on Twitter.
No. I'm talking about the people
Oh, the
that
people
you
that
actually
work?
host their shows. How many of them want to change it to their own name? They must.
All of them.
No, I don't think
All
so.
of them, right?
No, I would say none of them. Now,
What?
Right now.
Come on. Brendan Walsh doesn't want it to be in his name and then have you as the network second?
No, I mean, look what happened with Freddie Lockhart. When Freddie Lockhart did it, he got lost, and so he came back.
No.
And-
First of all, Freddie didn't. He left you. He stopped doing it. And when he left you,
Right.
it wasn't that he was, that he went under his name, and that's why people couldn't find him. It's like nobody gave a shit about it anymore.
You said you were going to find a
That's what
way
I'm saying.
to have people
No,
have
that's
them
not
come up
what
with their
you're
own podcast.
No, Freddie left because he wanted to do it on his own. And then what I'm saying is that when he did that, no one could find his podcast anymore because no one was listening to it anymore.
Well,
So
that's
why he
because
came back.
that's only because Freddie had not.
And he said, "Dude,
He had not publicized it well. He didn't do a good job.
Dude,
of
we
that.
talked about it on this podcast.
didn't know where
we
to
talked
go.
about it on podcast. We tweeted it. I even retweeted him tons of times.
No, it is an extra
That's
step
not
for
enough.
how to have
That's
people.
not enough. If you consider the numbers of people that are listening to yours, but in order for him to have it go off on his own, think about that. He was doing yours for so long, and it still hadn't developed a name where he could
That was
go
one
on
of
his
the
own.
number one podcasts on Death Squad. When it left, it went to 170.
But
So what? You don't understand what I'm saying?
No.
What I'm saying is he all the time he's doing it with you still hadn't gotten independent. He was still attached to your name. So it's almost like he wasted time doing a good podcast under your name and never got his name out there. So when his name got out there on its own, it flopped because no one knew about it.
wasn't worth
So he had
anything.
been doing all this podcasting and spending all this time developing this sort of a bunch of fans to follow him, and he couldn't take it with him. Whereas if he just did it on his own, whatever he built up would have been his own. It would have stuck with him.
Or if they
Instead
had
of
their
it
own
being
name
connected
on,
to
if
the
they had their
Death
own
Squad
name on Death Squad.
Do you know how many?
Yeah.
Do you
Does
know
that
how
make
many,
sense?
Yeah.
Do you know how many podcasts that there's comics out there that you've never heard of in your life? Did you know Mark Ellis had 2 podcasts?
But yeah, Mark Ellis is not a famous comedian. You know, Freddie Lockhart, first of all, was on a television show, and he's been on our podcast many, many times. And you know, Mark Ellis.
No, but
for
it
the most
still would be
part-
nice if people could search for his name.
Yeah.
It would
You
just,
can.
Well, they
Search for
can.
your
They can search for his name. The real thing
know
is
where to
like
find-
the
yeah.
question is, do you do it the way Adam Carolla does it, where he has like someone's whatever like Penn Sunday School,
Yeah.
and then underneath that it says Ace Broadcasting.
Oh,
So
right.
he has it in a secondary position, and he allows the person's name of their podcast. That's first,
Yeah.
and he's just the production arm of it.
so you can build up that name.
Yeah. Whereas Brian, the way Brian does it is he has a channel, and it's the Death Squad channel, and then everybody else's podcast is sort of secondary to that. It's
Right,
the
just a
exact
network.
opposite.
It's collecting it all.
It builds up
together.
the network. It builds up the network as a whole instead of building up each individual as an entity on their own, an independent
Everyone
entity.
helps each other. If you're a big Sam Tripoli fan, you start listening to Sam Tripoli, you're going to start listening to Brendan Walsh, vice versa. There's so many people that never knew who Brendan Walsh was until they just were like, well, I like Freddie Lockhart. I'm going to start listening to Brendan Walsh now because they're on the same network, and vice versa.
Well, that's also
Yeah.
the case of what people
But
didn't
then
know
with the
about
same
until
reason-
they came onto this podcast.
Yeah, but that's that same reasoning. There would be people who were like, "Oh, I don't like." Let's just say,
I mean, here's an
Brendan
example.
Walsh's podcast. So they get annoyed and don't listen to the Sam Tripoli podcast.
Here's an example.
They get turned off by the stuff they're not into, and they're like, "How much of this do I have to sit through before?"
Well,
I
you
get to
don't
stuff I do
don't
like?"
listen to it. Do you have to listen to every single one?
No, but you're just less likely to see it.
What?
You're less likely to see it. If there's 6 things that are there and you're only into one of them, it's just like you're less likely to check in to see when there's updates.
Well, my only thought is that someone,
This
if they're
all is gonna make
developing
sense.
their own shit on their own, if they're doing their own show on their own, and they brand, I mean, they start like Doug Loves Movies, started out on his own, kept it on his own, and at this point in time,
He does
it's-
live
he's-
shows, says Doug
he
Loves
has-
Movies,
Yeah,
and
he has
people
like
come.
equity
Yeah.
that he's built up in that name and doing that on his own.
Yeah.
And for a lot of these other guys, they're building equity into the Death Squad name, and
Yeah.
it's not
That's
transferring
not
onto.
true. Look at Ari Shaffir. Look at Tom Segura. There's ways that you can do it right. They were lucky. People like their show and they're listening to it. Ari is doing good on his podcast, and so is Tom Segura.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm just saying
They're
that
independent. They left.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I don't think that like it works for everyone.
Okay.
I think that like I think if Sam Tripoli wanted to like move off of Death Squad, he can totally do it, and he would probably survive. But like I don't think that it's.
It'd be nice if there's a way to stay on Death Squad, but also have their own picture for their
Yeah.
podcast or something, so you can
And
see
then-
it's like
yeah.
it's their picture. or
That's
something.
all. That's
No,
all we're talking
well,
about.
what-
The reason
brand it.
why, I mean, you actually made a bad example because the reason why Ari and Duncan, well, Duncan especially, he did it completely independently on his own. But
Natasha.
what got them famous was being on a podcast that was famous. This one.
Yeah.
That's what got them. That's 100% what.
Somebody
made it
asked me
happen.
that this week.
It's
They're like-
not being on the Death Squad.
They're like, how many of your listeners, Ari, do you think are not fans of Joe Rogan? And I was like, oh, maybe like 1%, maybe 2%.
Yeah,
That's
which
how a
is-
lot of people have found me. I don't mind it.
Which is fine. You know,
Yeah.
look, we're all sort of different but like-minded folks.
People apologize. They're like, I'm sorry, I didn't even know you did stand up. I didn't want to even see you before I heard it in the podcast. I'm like, I don't care. That means you're
that's-
here because of that. That's awesome.
The biggest
Yeah,
thing,
it's
the biggest
beautiful.
thing I want to stress though is the reason why it's done as a group is also looking past what podcasts. Like I don't really think that
Power through numbers.
that in 20 years podcasts are going to be fucking kicking ass or anything. But one thing I do know that's coming up is the basic future of cable television and networks and stuff are going to more of a streaming based, a download based system like Netflix or iTunes. That is true. Like there's not going to be an NBC in 10 years.
That would happen
as-
independently of whether or not you made your show the first name or their show the first name.
Well, anyways, what I was saying is DeathSquad.tv to me is like, I'm kind of considering it more like this is a channel. This is more than just you're listening to a podcast at your house. This is like a TV show network where each one of these shows are like, it's like being on
like NBC.
Death Squad is like .tv, but it's like being on like MTV. And each one of these things underneath it is a show. And so one of the biggest things with like all the people saying, you know, like I want it to be separated into all the different things on iTunes and all that stuff. If you don't want to just go to DeathSquad.tv and download what you want to listen to, we're making these show pages right now where, like, as an example, if you like the Naughty Show, it's going to have all the naughty shows, and it's going to have an RSS feed, which you can do right now in any browser. If you open up your browser, pick a search string of any kind, you can make an RSS feed.
Stop it! No one's doing that.
Yeah, no one's making RSS.
Well, anyways, I'm just saying that you can do it. If you're freaking out about RSS feeds, you probably can easily cut and paste an RSS string.
No, most people don't know.
But no one's who's freaking out about RSS feeds.
Exactly, the 1%. So, anyways, but each one of these pages, like the Naughty Show page and stuff like that, will have all the individual shows for each person, and it's going to have each host is going to have a PayPal. A show donation.
How many of your network shows are you actually in?
Every single one of them.
Every one of them.
So that's another thing. That's.
I produce them all. The only ones I don't do is when like say Brian Cowan or somebody's doing one in their hotel room.
Doesn't that drive you crazy to be in all those different podcasts? I mean, your brain must be scattered.
No, because it's quality control for everything. I mean, there's like shows like I love Esther to death, but you know, if I wasn't there and just put it up, I would be mad at myself for fucking letting you listen to it, and then and vice versa. Sometimes, you know, there's a quality that all these people get where, like, you know, when Ari was on Death Squad, you sent me one file once, and it was like one person was really loud, one person was super, super quiet. You couldn't hear it. Yeah. And I know Ari was angry at me for not wanting to put that up.
No, I was angry at you for saying we're not putting it up before you let me listen to it. That's all it was.
Right.
I was like, let me hear it and I'll make my decision.
Right. But
you kept saying, no, we're not doing it.
I couldn't put it up because, honestly, I sat there for 2 hours trying to fix it to make it so it would be acceptable, and it wasn't. And
that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of people don't know that, yeah, I'm on these podcasts because I'm fucking producing them.
I told Callan, because after he told me like his stuff was the same way, it wasn't coming through. I was like, you know, you have to get microphones and cords for that, right? And he goes, no, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, you got to get microphones and cords.
So he got
I told him where to
right?
get it. Yeah,
cool.
I'm like, those will be better from now on.
Yeah.
The only problem that I have is that we use the name Death Squad for all of us. And if you got a network that's Death Squad,
and then anyone that's on there, it becomes one of those people.
And
not necessarily.
It's not, but
no,
it's not.
If
the
you
real
appear
Death
on
Squad way to do it is to do Joey's podcast, Ari's podcast,
but they don't
Duncan's
want that
podcast, to put it on a page somewhere.
Well, that's called a link page. We could put that if
Brian,
if we
why
want
are you
to,
defensive right now? No one's saying anything bad.
Because that makes no sense at all.
No, it makes a lot of sense. What I'm saying is,
what I do at Death Squad's 100% different than what you're doing.
It feels like it's being attacked.
Exactly.
And people on the internet think you're doing the same thing because what it is.
They think I'm doing the same thing. What?
Because what I'm doing is you're pretty much saying the real reason to do a podcast network, like I'm not doing a way to do it just because I'm using the word Death Squad.
I'm saying the right way to call it Death Squad. It should not just be the shows that you're in. It should be all of us.
Death Squad is a bunch of friends, right? All these people that we have, I'm doing all these shows. I've been on the road with you. Sam Tripoli has been on the road with you, right? Freddie Locker.
Stop it. You're not doing people that have been on the road with me.
Pamela Walsh.
That's not what you're doing. You got a bunch of people that don't even know who these people are.
I'm talking about the host of the show, Brendan Walsh. Used to take Brendan Walsh on the road, right?
Some of them, Brian.
So you wouldn't consider him being in the Death Squad?
Brian, some of them not. You know that.
Jaden James?
Yeah, come on. All that shit. There's a bunch of them. I don't want to name names. I don't want to criticize anybody.
I know, but every person that's a guest on the show, I wouldn't consider it be on the Death Squad, would you?
What?
Like if you have a person that's on your show as a guest.
There's a big difference between having someone on as a guest and having someone who you're doing a show with them. And then you're calling it Death Squad and you're putting it on a network.
Right.
I mean, you essentially have taken over that name and used it for your own stuff.
It's Death Squad is network. I'm not Death Squad.
You're on every one
I'm
of them.
not Death Squad. All of us are Death Squad.
But you're on every one of them.
Because I produce every single show on that Death Squad, yes.
But do you not see that is like you
Joe,
are sort of
90% of the shows, like I probably talk about 10% of the time.
No,
and it's
I know
not,
you don't.
and it's usually more of same thing. If you listen to Howard Stern, if you listen to any of the shows that have producers like E-Rock or anything like that, that's a normal thing, Joe.
Dude, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you're doing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that to call it the Death Squad is kind of weird. because the Death Squad is supposed to be all of us, and most of the people that are in the Death Squad aren't on the deathsquad.tv
Okay,
site.
so if one of you other guys did something with the Death Squad
yeah, like
name,
Duncan and Red
then
Rat, and,
go for it. I was the first
yes.
one. I was like, hey, I'm just going to make a collection of shows and call it Death Squad because Opie said it one time and it was funny.
Yeah, but it's not the you know. Do you know?
Well, you
feel
mean
this at
Death
all?
Squad's a
Do you
little
don't feel
different
this
to
at
you.
all?
Like you feel it's like the 4 people that was in the room.
No, I do not. I feel it's family. It's all the people that we're family with.
And I think
there's a lot of people that you podcast with. That you're
They
not
asked me
family
we
with.
were gonna do this. Hold on.
I mean,
Right,
except for
that
the
nice
Jadens.
girl's nice. And Ryan Keeley, she's a very nice girl. Dan Diormond, very nice girl. Those people aren't your family.
We were gonna do the
Why?
show. And,
They're friends of mine. They're,
Okay.
They're friends with you.
Okay, then they're family. Are they
you don't
family?
think Dana's a friend?
She's a nice girl. She's not my
You've
family.
had her on this podcast.
I have. What is the question? Brian, there's a lot of people we've had on this podcast.
But you're acting like
They're
this
not
is
all my
like
family.
a tree house, and you're like, you're not allowed in this tree house.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're calling it Death Squad when Death Squad is us. Death Squad is us as friends. And
Who?
you're just
Who is us?
tagging all the people that were hanging out together in that group.
There was not the whole Death
Joey
Squad
Diaz.
at that group.
Joey Diaz, Eddie
was not there
Bravo.
when Opie called us Death Squad. So you're saying Joey Diaz is
become
not a Death Squad?
Is Joey Diaz not one of my best friends? Is Joey Diaz not constantly on the road with us? Is Joey Diaz not the one who uses it more than anybody? He was the one who actually started calling everybody Death Squad. He was the one who ran with it because he thought it was hilarious.
Joe, there's obviously some heat here then because you're really having a problem with me using the name.
I'm not
Death
having a
Squad.
problem at all. I'm just saying it would
we
be nice
were all
if-
at a radio
it
station
would be
and
nice
Opie
if
called
you
us something. And we were all talking about it, and I just happened to start calling something Death Squad. It doesn't mean that I'm like, no, he was talking about me, and it's all me, and I'm Death Squad, and that's what I mean. I'm just saying that I used a term that we all use, and I bought a domain and started doing a podcast for it.
You started doing a podcast and started calling the shows Death Squad. And
the
calling-
podcast network's
Yeah,
called
so
Death
you've
Squad.
essentially hijacked the name. You've taken the name for your own
what
network.
name? What name?
That name, Death Squad. You've taken it for your own network. The name
But
that
why
you
was
used
I
to
not
do those
allowed
little
to do
videos.
that?
Not saying you aren't. I'm just saying if it really was Death Squad, you would have Ari on that
Joe,
page.
if I say-
You'd have big links to all the people that you're not profiting from as well.
If I created a podcast network and called it Powerful, are you saying that wasn't I wouldn't be allowed to do that?
It's a big difference
Not-
between
not
a whole
allowed,
group
not-
of
not
people that
allowed.
call themselves Death Squad. We've been calling ourselves Death Squad for like almost a decade. And then all of a sudden a podcast comes along and you call this podcast
I bought
Death
that
Squad.
domain 2007.
I had
What does that mean, Brian? What does that
mean-
mean?
that-
Just because
that-
you bought the domain, didn't we call ourselves that before you bought the domain?
Yeah,
So what are
we
you
call
trying to say?
ourselves a lot of things, but does that mean I'm not allowed to say, "Hey, I'm going to use that as a name for a
Dude,
podcast
I
network
can't
about all you
even-
guys"?
I can't even believe that you don't see another side of this. I can't believe that you don't see a
I see
little
what
bit
you're
of a side of
saying,
this.
but it's kind of funny that I've been doing it since 2007, and now you're just making it seem
Wait,
like it's
wait,
all
hold on,
I've
hold on,
said
hold on.
ever,
Hang on,
all
hang
I've
on a
said
second.
ever is that it
Hang on a
should be all of us included.
And that's why
meaning
you
the
all
guys,
are on
the
it.
guys that aren't in a podcast network
Right.
with you,
Brian, he's
that
not
you
saying-
don't profit from.
Hang on, he's not
Should
saying
have a
you've done
link
something
page.
specific. Hold on, listen for a second. He's not saying you've done anything specifically wrong.
I know.
You knew I was going to
No,
say
he's
that.
getting upset
You knew
for
I was going to say
using-
that.
No, I'm
so
saying
then hold
he's-
on for a second.
he's
Listen
getting
for a
upset
second.
that I'm
Brian,
using
let him
George.
Hold on for a
talk.
second.
Let him talk.
I know he's not saying you've done anything specifically wrong. He's saying, wouldn't it be nice to have built a page, or in the future
And
to
what-
build a
what-
page to include the people
A
who were
link
sort
page, right?
of
It should
in
be-
that group to begin with?
It should
But
be,
he's
if you're
also
going to call
implying
something
that the
Death
whole-
Squad, it should be all of us. It should be Joey Diaz. It should be Duncan. It should be people that have never been in the
see,
podcast.
there we go,
network.
right there, because that who does this? Who does that gets to choose who's on it? Because you said some you
How
might
about
think
me? How about I'll choose?
Yeah, but why?
How about I
why,
choose?
why are you
Why
why are you
shouldn't I?
considered Death Squad?
I'll tell you this.
How about
I was
because
saying,
I was gonna do a
why
show
would I
with
be considered
Brendan
Death
and
Squad?
How
Tom
about because
Segura.
I'm going to treat it fairly? How about because I'm going to let in
Not
people that
really,
are actually.
because-
Tell me
because-
how I'm not.
Because there's somebody that you might want on there that I might not want on there, and there might be
Like
somebody
who?
that Ari wants on
Duncan?
there.
You don't think Duncan deserves to be in because you and him are having an argument? You don't think that Duncan deserves to be a part of the Death Squad? He's been
What
on
is
the
your
road with us
argument?
for
You
a
were trying to tell me
decade.
before, but you were. I don't like
Silliness.
having arguments when you were.
The
drinking.
argument comes from Duncan getting upset at Brian when we were in Atlanta, saying that Brian doesn't pay the comedians when he charges money for the shows at the Ice House, and that he should.
Yeah, you should pay them.
But yeah, I do, and he just doesn't. know.
No, you only paid the MCs.
That's not true.
Okay.
Okay, again,
You
Joe.
should pay
Now, are
people
you going to
for
throw me
going
under
to
the
that
bus
show.
too? Because you have no idea who I
Brian,
pay, right?
Okay, if you started paying people recently, this is a different
I'm
thing.
turning off now.
Don't turn off, bro.
Because
You
I'm
can't.
not,
You can't
I'm not
do
getting
this.
into this again because one
It's
thing.
not. You
one
don't
thing-
raise your voice
All right.
and don't get crazy. Listen,
All right.
I am
Yeah,
not
just talk
agreeing.
calmly.
Explain it.
First of all, let me explain
Let
that
me
Duncan
explain.
shouldn't have done what he did. What
Live
he
on
did,
the podcast,
exactly.
right?
What he did,
He threw me
cor-
under a bus.
He cornered
and he also
Brian.
called me drunk, even though I had a beer and a Red Bull.
Drunk is not an insult.
So he's also just fucking.
He
sitting
wasn't
there.
correct. He was trying to diminish him.
He was trying to attack me
I
on
got
a
it.
podcast.
I got it.
All right, so
dismiss you by
The
saying
whole
that.
thing was disgusting.
the problem what I have and what he was getting at is we were talking about Southwest by Southwest, right?
South by Southwest. Yes.
He does this video where it says that Southwest by Southwest makes
South
a
by
shitload of
Southwest.
money, whatever it's called, and they don't pay people to come out there because he was offered to come out there and he didn't get paid. And so what I had brought up is that I had been hearing that it really it's all about the venues. Like Southwest by Southwest is like a blanket name, kind of like a Death Squad, and it's into each of the venues that if they want you to come out and play their bar, that they might pay you. You know, but Southwest doesn't do anything except promote it as a big party. You know, like they do advertising and promotions and stuff like that.
And then what did Duncan do?
Duncan made a video saying that they don't pay anyone and they steal from comics. So what happened is I was talking and I was explaining like, hey, I heard this, and he goes, "You're drunk." And I'm like,
well,
"Oh,
okay, this is not. You're really paraphrasing. heavily slapping
obviously. So what then it turned into that he said on a podcast, "You steal from comics." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "You steal from comedy. You don't pay your comics." And I'm like, "Well, Duncan, one, why do you think I don't pay my comics? I do pay the MC or the host, usually, which is like Tony Hinchcliffe or Will. I give them $40 to $60.
Yeah.
And I pay usually if there's any
Good,
people
that's a
like
tough
Little
job.
Esther or anyone that I know that is like fucking, you know, like they don't even have gas money to get there, I'll throw them $20 to $40 sometime. And like as an example, this last one I gave, you know, Little Esther money. I gave Mark Ellis some cash. I spread it out.
I'll tell you this. People have been grumbling. You got to share that cash with people.
All right.
What have people been saying?
They're like, I'm driving out there. There's a cover charge. How am I not getting paid?
all right. Well, here's an example.
Who's saying this? You don't want to say names.
People are saying it.
People
All right.
are pissed.
All right. Well, here's a couple reasons why.
Yeah.
One, because I don't get paid till the following week. So
the following
anything
week,
I pay for that night is I have to go to an ATM. I have to take out money and I have to fucking go. All right, how much money did I make? Did this
You
sell
don't get
out?
paid till when?
The following week usually.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
then I have to figure out how much money did I kind of make? Did it sell
You
out?
just ask them right there at the door. Like, how much money did we
Okay,
bring
I
in?
could do that if I wasn't doing a live podcast at the same time. But anyways,
Yeah.
and then I get taxed on all that. So everything I make there, which is not even the door, I don't get the full door. I get like 60% of the door or something like that. Then I get taxed on it. So that pretty much cuts it in half. So what my average usually is
Yeah.
about $200 to $300 I make on a show. I usually spend about $100 giving it to miscellaneous comics to $150. And the other $150 to me is like, okay, now I could either not do the show or make $150 for booking a show, advertising a show, and
Wait,
producing
it's
all that show.
$15 a ticket times 80?
10, it's usually 15 when Joe does it and 10 when I do it. But I give out so many free tickets that it's usually what
Not when Joe does it.
I give it out when Joe does it too.
Why?
You don't have to.
I don't have to usually, but
You
usually
do it if you give it
But
away
usually-
for people you know.
But usually, yeah. But usually,
That's
it's
not.
also
That's
like
not giving away free tickets. That's,
You should.
that's putting people on
This is
the
what the
guest
Comedy
list.
Store does that I like. They split the main room, just the one show, but it's nice. The main room, half goes to the Comedy Store,
But-
half goes to the comedians.
But-
Let me say something. Here's how you avoid all this. Ever,
don't actually
forever.
do the
This is
show
how,
at all.
This is
That's
how you
what I
avoid,
want to do.
This is how you avoid all this forever. Be infallibly generous.
Oh yeah.
Be generous to the point where they can't infallibly. Do it to the
No, I
point
guess-
where they can't argue against it. Be generous to the point where you're not saying, you know, I'm going to make $150 because I feel like I deserve it. Because
No.
I'm
You know
promoting the
what?
show.
What I want to do, you're right. You know what that makes me want to do? Not do it at all. I don't give a fuck.
Okay,
'Cause
but Brian, that's a very,
to
a
me-
very defensive stance,
No.
especially when you're talking to me.
No.
And then the reason the people are going to the show is because I'm headlining and I'm promoting it on my Twitter.
Obviously, it's not.
It's not a bad thing, man.
When-
Look, you should make some money. You should make some
I don't
money.
want. You know what? I don't do it for money. I don't want anything
Okay,
to do it
then-
for money. But I
okay,
also don't want to do
Brian,
anything like that for free because I consider that work.
Then you're doing it for money. If you don't want to do it for free, then you're doing it for money.
Right.
You should
Then
be
I shouldn't
paid.
do it.
Then okay, man. Listen, you're sounding like a little kid. This is craziness because I'm not being mad at you at
No,
all.
but
And
people
I'm
are
not being
attacking me on podcasts.
But we can. But no one here's attacking you, bro. You and I are friends. We're like brothers. Okay, Ari's like a brother. We're all here together. We're trying to talk. But you're like really trigger strung, and one of the reasons is because you feel like they're attacking you for
I
this
am.
choice, and you're trying to defend this choice.
I am.
What I'm saying is the only reason why they even can attack you is because there is a point of view that they're expressing that may be
It's the
valid.
same as South by Southwest, where their
It's
version
not
is
right.
their version is this. Like, well, you should want to be here. It's a really fun time, and you're like, yeah, I do want to be there, but it would also be nice if the money you're collecting for these shows in Austin would come to some of us who are doing the shows for
I
you.
think there's good in having those shows there. I think it's good for the comedy club. I think it's good for first of all, the comedians should be getting paid directly to the comedy club, so you don't have to follow.
So I
Yeah,
don't
you
get
could
taxed.
easily do that.
Yeah.
You could easily do that.
You should that's
Right. Well, that's
easy.
what I'm planning on doing. See, honestly, to me in the
You could
in
easily
the
have
past,
them take each of their checks.
to me in the past,
Yeah.
honestly, it was more like, you know what, this isn't how it should be, but right now I'm too busy to fucking sit down, renegotiate this thing that we started.
Okay, well, that's
ago.
honest. That's very honest of you.
And I've never not paid anyone on a show, meaning there was never a show where I didn't pay anybody.
Sometimes, Brian, when you get really mad at something, it's because people are right. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means they might have a point and you need to step
No,
back.
Not all of our actions
This is
ever
the reason
are
why I'm
correct.
pissed off at this, or
Right.
we're originally pissed off of it, because I first heard it one of the first things I did was Duncan did this, and it did it on a live podcast.
Right.
He blindsided
And
you.
he blindsided me. And
Yeah.
while, if you went to DeathSquad.tv, there was a huge fucking link that I did out of the own kindness of my heart. He didn't ask me to.
No, but don't-
to buy his poster.
You have hold on. You have this
in the
tendency
past-
during an argument to bring up something else you've done nice for a person.
Well,
to then somehow
well, I think
mean.
there's-
So how dare you bring up this A argument
All right,
when
well,
I've done
yeah.
B and C for
Well,
you? Where it's just a separate
we
argument.
have 3 minutes, but the only
He's
thing
got
I'll
a
say-
very good point.
The only thing, the reason I would say that is because in the past I've done a lot for this guy,
Yes.
and instead of just like talking to me and going, "Hey, why don't you do this or that?" And I could explain this whole thing I just did to you, and he'd be like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense."
Slow down,
Instead of
slow
doing
down,
that,
slow down, slow
well, we
down,
have
slow
3
down,
minutes.
slow
We have to
down.
end this. So
Why?
No. Listen, we're going to end this part. We're going to come back and wrap this up because this is too ridiculous. We'll have a little part 1 and a part 2. So let's stop this portion of it, and we'll come back
Smoke a
with a
J.
very informal 5 minutes. We'll take a little break and
Maybe
we'll
we
come
can
right
smoke a
back.
J.
But we need to relax and calm this down because this is really getting crazy.
Smoking a J will help that.
That'll help. I like the way you
No,
think.
no.
I like the way you think. So let's pause it right now. Let's thank the Fleshlight. Please go to joerogan.net, enter in the code name Rogan, and save yourself 15% off. #1 sex toy for men, and they are our first and original sponsor here at the Joe Rogan Experience. Holla. Thank you also to Onnit.com, ONNIT.com, makers of Alpha Brain, New Mood, Shroom Tech, all that shit. You know what it is. Go check it out. Go to Onnit.com. Read up on the stuff. There's first 30 pills. There's always a 100% money back guarantee. Use the code name Rogan and save yourself 10%. We're going to just take a little break, and we'll be right back with a very informal wrap up to this crazy conversation.